Hello, my friends! On this very special episode of an interview, not only is my guest a great friend and a fellow musician, but he also is the first person to actually come into my studio, my actual studio, where we shared such a deep and intriguing conversation spanning many different topics of songwriting, aliens, the afterlife, and a galaxy of other topics. But before we get started, I would like to give a quick shout out to IKOstrips. This is a new company who is the future of CBD delivery by providing a new nanofiber CBD strip that is similar to Listerine strips. They melt under your tongue about 2 minutes and they're gone. Not only does it taste great, but it will deliver an exact percentage of CBD into your system faster than ever before. Perfect for the casual de-stressor of everyday life and a faster way to deliver CBD into your system for much more severe cases, like pain relief, for example. IKOstrips was kind enough to send me a huge bag of samples, which Kyle and I did enjoy. You'll hear me actually pronounce them as IKOstrips because I had only read it through messaging. So yeah, anytime I say IKOstrips, I'm meaning IKOstrips because my tiny monkey brain doesn't really know how to pronounce things correctly unless I'm told clearly how to do it. But yes, IKOstrips, you can go to IKOstrips.com for any questions that you might have for this company or their product. I will also leave that link in the description below, along with another link, an interview done with Scott Barnes, the CEO of IKOstrips, and also another good friend of mine. With all that being said, sit back and enjoy an interview with Kyle Browning.
Yeah, what's that about?
This is CBD oil strips. I was telling you about this the other day when we were at Chase's.
Yeah.
I told you that I put that Facebook post up about, how does CBD oil help out with anxiety and things like this. And I told you that my friend Scott Barnes, that he invested in a new company. And I was wrong. I was talking to him today. He actually launched this company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But anyway, he hit me up and he was like, hey, I launched this company. Give me your address. The very next day, pop. I have a big,
sitting in the mailbox.
Big bag of samples. I'm like, holy, there's, I don't know how many.
That's 100. A lot,
yeah. And they're like 50 milligrams, which is like severe high dosage, which is, of course, what I take, because I guess my life is severe in my mind.
Yeah.
But I've been taking it, man. Like, at first I was worried. I go, okay, is this going to be like a placebo effect? And even if it is that even really bad?
Right. I wouldn't say so.
And I did notice a difference. And the difference was that I'm sleeping better.
Oh, really?
Or more solid, like
straight through.
Fluidly through the night. Mm-hmm. I've been dealing with back pain. I haven't had any back pain since I started taking these.
Jeez.
Which I don't know if these are direct of that or if I'm just sleeping in a better position or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But I can't help but to correlate the two.
Right, you're sold. I can hear it.
Right, I'm sold. And here, man, try one.
Look at that.
There's these strips. Take them, put them under your tongue. I guess.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And here.
That's pretty wild.
Take one right now.
Yeah, let's do it. It's like a Listerine kind of strip.
Yeah, kind of. You just slip it under your tongue there. But yeah, Scott Barnes. Do you remember his daughter, Alex?
Yeah.
Actually, on the YouTube channel that we're doing this podcast for. Mm-hmm. If you guys go back, look at my very first video dropped. It was Alex Barnes performing. She is a wonderful singer and songwriter.
Amazing. From when you were doing the Telltales thing.
Yeah,
that's right around when we first met.
Yeah, it is. I think you were like the second or third video in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his daughter. So, and me and Scott and I rather, we just kind of hit it off. Slowly, like he would just show up to shows or something like that, where we just run into each other. And we just, oh, hey, you're Alex's dad.
Yeah.
Then he went from Alex's dad to Scott, and then it's like, well, let me buy you a drink. And then now he's buying me a drink. And now
nice.
When he shows up to shows, I'm like, this is a cool motherfucker, man. This guy is so cool. Really easy to talk to. Really nice. Mm-hmm. And loves to support his daughter's music.
Right, that's what it's
loves
all
his
about.
children, and he used to live out here, but I guess he lives in Columbus now, or somewhere around there. Anyway, he's the one that sent me these strips. So yes, CBD oil, IKOstrips. go to the website, check it out, and give my friend Scott a shout out, or buy his shit. I don't know. I like it. I support it, and I'm going to keep him in my studio and give him to my guests.
Yeah.
You are the first person to come into the new studio and do this podcast, Mr.
Nice,
Kyle
dude.
Browning.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks for coming in. This is all weird. Like, this whole studio thing. I've never had anybody else in here besides my son.
Right.
Well,
I like it, dude.
Joe Manning was in here once.
He's a good cat, man.
He is. He is a good cat.
I just seen him last weekend, the day after we hung out with you.
Yeah, I saw that. I haven't watched it yet, but I saw that he was on there. I was so happy to see him.
He filled in last minute because we had a cancellation with what we were doing, and
oh yeah, you know what? He's so talented.
very talented.
He's talented. He's humble. He loves Jacqueline, to
Right.
death. He loves his relationship. He does everything for him and his family. The guy's got his head on right, and he doesn't take any bullshit. If he thinks
He does not.
if he thinks something shady's going on, he's gonna call you out for it.
Yep,
And that's what I like about him.
I do too.
So,
Straightforward.
and that's, dude, you're kind of the same.
Yeah.
Like, you're a pretty easyggoing guy. I don't really know you as well as I know Joe,
yeah.
but I know
I try to be, man.
you're very vibrant.
Yeah. I don't know. I got a lot of wisdom. I mean, I've been all over the place here and there, and went through a lot of stuff, but I've always sat back and been a people watcher. And that's always been my thing is to take in other people's feelings and emotions and what they're going through and trying to understand that. I'm real big on that.
Very empathic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm right there with you. It can trick you.
It can trick you.
Because
It can be very deceiving if you're...
if you don't stay on top of it. Because you can start categorizing and generalizing people.
Right. And then you fall into the same broken system.
Right. I've had situations where I've had somebody do me wrong, and then like I was so hurt by it, and then I would meet another person that just by looks or just like little triggers that they would act,
characteristic.
Yeah, character that they would act the same, and I'd automatically be like,
Pinpoint,
you're like that piece of shit.
Yeah.
And
I've seen. Let me get my notebook out.
and
I've seen this before.
Right. Well, and that's where I have to be careful. Like that's the whole generalization, because this is a whole different person.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
To each their own.
Right. So you got to be careful. You got to put those emotions in check. For sure. That's the tricky part about being empathic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But people watching is always a good learning experience for both parties.
I think so.
Well, I say for both parties. I mean, like learning about people, learning about yourself, rather.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know?
You got to observe, man. I mean, it's a big part of growth.
Well, and observing you, like, you've always had this really welcoming way about you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when I first met you, you just kind of showed up at Barrel Bar.
Yeah.
One day, and,
By myself.
Got on that stage with like no shoes or something like that.
Sounds right.
And you just blew me away, man. Just blew me away. And just you didn't really sing much.
Right.
You're very reserved, and then I'm like, well, what's your Facebook, man? Trying to schmooze. You're like, man, fuck, I don't do Facebook, man.
Yeah, I just recently got into it, but back then,
Yeah.
I mean, I just now got like my first Facebook memory, a couple weeks ago, and it was just like, man, it's been a year I've been doing this. I always said I wouldn't do it, and it wasn't that I had anything against anyone that did. It was just wasn't in the cards for me. I don't know.
Well, once you start realizing that Facebook can be a tool more than
That's what talked me into it too.
more than an actual
It's like a platform.
yeah, it doesn't have to be a diary.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you can use it as a tool, and I've actually been going through this thing lately where I've been Facebook will let you take a break.
Right.
You can deactivate, like I'll deactivate my account for a few days and just break away from it.
That's smart.
And just because it can be addicting.
Well, I mean, I feel like we need to do that with more. I wish there was more deactivation with things that you could just like, I'm going to take 2 or 3 days off from this.
Yeah.
I feel like it's important.
And do it healthily. Welcome to social media. And now you're kind of running with it.
I am. Somehow.
You're like, wow, look at this door. I'm
Look
going to
at
open
me.
this one and this one and this one. Because you got me, you got me on Chase Gilroy's YouTube thing, which he is a well-established YouTuber.
He's been doing it for a while. I think, I mean, I might be wrong with the numbers, but I think since 2012 he's been vlogging his family and everything. And I mean, he started out his career kind of in that direction, doing film. Went to school for some type of digital media, and it's just always been a passion for him.
Yeah.
And music's always been a thing. I've known Chase since, I mean, we were in middle school. We were in our first band together, and just always kind of been connected here and there throughout life. You know, everybody gets a little older and goes on our own little tracks, you know, family, kids, or whatnot, move away. But I think the ones that you really stay connected with towards once you get a little older and they come back into your life, I mean, there's a reason for that.
Absolutely. I have a lot of my friends I have now were that way. You know, a really good friend that lives out in Tennessee. We knew each other in high school, but then we didn't know each other for years after that. And then we got reconnected, and like same kind of, we were in a band, you know, together. And now we still talk, you know, on a weekly basis. You know, just one of those solid friends. We've been there through thick and thin.
Yes.
Especially when it got really thick, or or thin, whichever one's worse.
Yeah.
But so you actually have a hand in his new projects.
So I mean, right now I just started booking. I know a lot of artists. I feel like I have a knack for. I've got an ear for them. And I mean, I just have a love for all the people in the music community that I've grown up with, and there's people that I go out and see. You know, I play music as well, but I actually, you know, on my days off and I don't have anything going on, I go and see these artists, and
that's important.
And that's important, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very important thing to do, and something that is hard for a musician to do when you are an active musician,
right?
Because you're always playing the same times that other people
doing something,
playing.
Yeah.
You know, that's something I ran into when I did music full time for 3 years.
Dude, I know you were slaying it too.
Yeah, but like, you never get to go out and see shows, and that's one thing I loved about running an open mic. That was kind of like my, you know, my giving back, my justification for
your
not being able to.
Consumption as well, like you were able to sit back and consume other artists and things like that too.
Yeah, you know, and I think now that this whole COVID thing happened, and I had to go get a real job, as my parents would call it.
Yeah.
Something unique happened, and that was I found a different balance that I really needed.
I love that.
You know what I mean? Like, I was talking to Jeremy D. Moore, who was on the episode before this of the podcast, the very first guy, and he said something, you know, about, you know, balancing your life and just saying he has his way of thinking is, I like to say that I did that because I don't have to do it for the rest of my life.
Right.
You know, he put together this calendar, you know, of, you know, models and all this stuff and cars, and he made this calendar, and that got him connected to be a photographer for the Lion's Den.
Okay.
You know, which really launched his photography and filmography career, you know, and which essentially went into his magazine, ZTP magazine.
Kind of fed into the next thing. And
And now his magazine's kind of like on hiatus. It's evolving. But he's like, you know, but I'm working, you know, my regular job again, you know, and doing this, you know, it's like I'm a grease monkey in a sense. And he does a really cool job. He works with hydraulics. Okay. Like, he tests them. Like, you know, like sweet. When you know, on a military, the Navy, they have those jets that come on the landing pad, and they have those rubber bands that, like, grab them. Yeah. What those rubber bands are released are held by these hydraulic pumps. Okay. He tests those, and they do hundreds of other things, but those are one of the many, you know, avenues. And he's like, dude, these things will explode. All the work covering oil, you know. Yeah. So he loves it. He loves that, and he goes, but I can say I own my own business. I can say I ran a magazine. You know, I can say I did this, and he goes, I'm happy with that. And
I like that.
And I've always had that sort of mentality where you kind of spoke it for me. I've always known in my head, like, well, I don't mind, testing, doing little things and just leaving it there. To me, doing a short film with friends is successful to, as doing a
Absolutely.
3-hour movie, in that's in theaters,
Right.
that I experienced the stuff
You
that
have
goes into
you
it.
have the passion for it, and it's just like it's a win no matter what. Whether there's a bunch of traction that comes from it, but just the interaction with everybody coming together and making a product out of it.
Right.
It's,
So so balance is key.
Yeah.
And you seem to have a really fine balance with yourself right now. Is that and I don't really know.
Yeah,
This
I
could be
don't
smoke
know.
and mirrors for all I know.
it could be. I don't know.
You work out and you work an hour away from home.
Mm-hmm.
And you've had that job for how long?
I've worked there for almost 7 years. But
7 years.
I mean,
what kind of work do you do, if you don't mind me?
I'm a coordinator at Abercrombie and Fitch. So I work in the distribution center, and I mean, I always explain it as I'm kind of an adult babysitter.
That I get it.
I just I get along with
beat of my soul.
everyone and all walks of life and different cultures, and it's really, I love it, man. I love it.
What hours do you work?
I work 7 to 3. I work AM.
See, the AM is like,
So I'll go out and play a show at night and do my thing at night, but 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm on the road again, heading to work.
I'm right there. I feel that.
It's a tough life.
I'm right there with you, man. And so now you're balancing this new project with Chase. Explain this. Break it down what this new project is. I know I was a part of it, but I really didn't know what I was getting myself into.
So what it is, in a nutshell, is Chase has, he's got the studio and everything, and he's got that passion for music, and with the COVID shutdown and everything, no one's really able to get out and play the shows like they used to.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people depended on that income, just the social aspect of it, just to get out there and see your friends and listen to music and mingle and get all that from it. And so we've created this platform where a musician can come, put their PayPal up, their Cash App, and still, gain some revenue, but also be on this huge platform that Chase has built, kind of across the world. I mean, he's got fans from all over.
That's awesome. I wish you would have introduced it to me that way.
I know.
I
should have better at that.
I showed up thinking, as I told you before, I thought it was like just gonna be like a cell phone thing, like, oh, okay. Like, I really thought, like, when I messaged Chase, that was my fault. I didn't do my homework with it. I'm kind of scatterbrained.
I sent you the links.
Oh, yeah, but I'm so scatterbrained, man. I'm so scatterbrained.
I think it comes with the times right now, man. We all are.
It just comes with my mind. Like, I'm always like this. Like, unless you tell me directly, you need to do this, I'm like
right.
So in my head, I was showing up to like this thing, like, oh, well, Kyle's doing this thing with his buddies. I'll go, support, help them out, do all this stuff. And I sent Chase, like, I said, no need to put any of my cash stuff on there. That's not why I'm doing it. My links. Then I show up, and I'm like, oh no, they're doing this to help me. I'm like, oh, let me take myself down a peg here. I really thought it was. I did not know what I was getting into, but it was such a cool thing to walk into and see this atmosphere, and I almost
something fresh.
Yeah, and it's something that needs to be done. I know I have a similar idea with Studio 47 that I've been working on for 2 years and trying to perfect.
Yeah,
it's a little different light than what you guys are. Take your own creative route with it than what I'm doing or trying to launch.
Yeah,
but
still trying.
It's
a work in progress, right?
But it's all in the same, integrity of supporting local musicians and, sitting down with them and talking to them and picking their brain and doing all this stuff and then letting them promote and do the cash out. That is so fucking cool. Yeah. And what a unique experience it was. I'm talking live with all these people on Twitch.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, I was the first artist, me and Jared with Nomadic Earth.
Jared, what a cool guy.
Jared Mungo, yeah. So we were the first ones to actually go on there and really test it out. I mean, that was the whole plan after talking with Chase that he wants to do this. Like, okay, well, you know me. Like, let's just test it out and see what happens. And it was, man. It was overwhelming to do something like that and get that feedback. It was tough playing in a room with nobody there, but knowing that people are actually listening to you and interacting with you still.
It's an alien feeling.
It really is.
It's something that I was seasoned for when COVID first happened. You know, I was out of a job. So I started doing what everybody did, went on to Facebook.
Yep.
You know, and you know, and doing that whole thing, and like, you have to get used to not hearing a crowd, and I guess maybe even playing live, you get kind of used to people not applauding sometimes.
Of course.
You know, sometimes you're just ambient sound in the background. You know,
some background music.
Exactly. So I guess that kind of helps season, you know, that aspect of it too. But when I had to do the shows from the studio here, that's what I was reminded of when I was out there. You know, I was interacting with the people. You know, they're like, "Well, you need to talk to the people on the thing." I'm like, I got this. Like,
right.
I've done this before. This is COVID. Yeah, I got this before. You know, I didn't want to stop when I did, but I had to come home. Like, I'm like you. I get up real early in the morning.
Yeah, I left right after you.
Yeah, and it was way later than I was expecting to stay. I thought I was gonna only be there till like 11. You know.
Yeah.
And it was almost 1 by the time I got home, like 12:30 or something like that.
Yeah, it's really hard to balance the lifestyles. I mean,
so how is this working well with your job and doing this? Like, especially you do it on a Thursday. I'm sure you work on Friday, right?
Yeah. So we do it Thursday and Friday, and I mean, it was really overwhelming at first because I'm in 2 different bands. I've got a lot going on.
You're in 2?
Yeah,
I know. What, Nomadic Earth, is that it?
Yeah.
I know that one.
And then I just joined. I'm a bass player for a local metal band called Giants by the Riverside, and Jared Mungo's in that as well. He plays guitar in that.
Is this a spawn off of those river shows I see you doing?
It's not.
Oh,
yeah,
it's not?
actually separate. Oh. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
That's what, Blackfoot Gorge, or what's it called?
Blackhand Gorge.
Blackhand? Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. I've been there one time. I've been to Blackhand.
Yeah,
it's so cool. So let me tell you this quick story about my one experience there. Okay, my son and I, we like to go hiking. You know, like not like hardcore hiking, like soft hiking, like Blackhand Gorge. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
And that's where we just sit and just talk. You know, and that's where we run ideas for my other YouTube channel, Film Trigger, and we'll just figure things out. That's where we connect. You know. And we'd never been to this place before, so we went out there and just started walking. You know, great discussions, and we realized we were walking for a long time, and you know, we're like, well, we know there's an end, right? But how far away is it? Well, I don't know. Well, should we keep going? What if it's right around that bend? Then we stopped right before we got there. Right. You know, that's our mindset.
I do that all the time,
and we're just like. Yeah, we're just like, well, we better keep going then.
Yeah,
you know, we have to see this through. Mm-hmm. And then we just kept going. We're like, another 20, 30 minutes go by. We're like, how far? This has to be so close now. You know, we saw like
we're even closer now. Yeah,
right. When we walked in, we saw there was a trail. You know, there has to be a part to turn around or where it loops back. Where is this? You know, we finally get to the other end, and my son is like, yeah, we did it. You should have seen how quick he went from excitement to complete another dread when I had to tell him we had to go back.
Yep.
We ended up walking 10 miles that day.
Oh, my goodness.
It's around about 10. I think it's like 4-point-something miles one direction.
Yeah.
And he told me in his head that he thought maybe just the car was going to be there. Like it was going to be a loop. You know,
right. Somebody was going to pick us up and take us out to eat.
And so we accidentally walked 10 miles, and that's something you don't really want to accidentally do.
Right.
So, but it's a beautiful place.
How cool to go through that with him. You know what I mean? And have this story later too.
Oh yeah, we laugh about it. We talk about how awesome it is and how we never want to do it again. You know? But you perform there with Jared. Like you do these Sunday things.
Yeah, we do a Sunday gig. This past Sunday was the 15th time that we've done it. We did skip 1 week when we were up in Michigan, and we were doing a private festival up there. But before that, we did 11 in a row. Skipped that one, and then here we are. This coming Sunday will be number 16.
Nice.
And it just kind of magically happened on accident. We went out there just to practice, and we hiked to the waterfall. There's a little miniature waterfall out there, and we were like, let's do some live streams. We hadn't had any shows booked, and just kind of itching to play for people. We had some new music, whatnot. And so we go over there. There's a bunch of people by the waterfall, and it's really loud. So we're like, I don't know if we can get a good video right here. We tried to do a little stream, and it didn't work out. So I was like, you know what? Let's keep walking down the trail. So we kept walking and made our way to that towpath and walked out and started seeing some kayakers go through the river.
Then
and
10 miles later.
Yeah. I think we walked like the 5 mile portion of that. And we just sat down and started playing, and people started gathering, and we're just like, okay, let's play another one. We forgot to even record it or stream it. It just became something just in the moment for whoever was there right then, and that's what we've been doing ever since.
And not only is it unique, fun, cool experience, but you unintentionally started a COVID-friendly acoustic show.
Yeah, completely social distant. I mean, you don't have to be near anybody. You can be on the opposite side of the river on those trails. You can hear us. You can be up above the I want to call it like a mountain that we sit under.
Hilltop, yeah.
The hilltop up there. You can be up there and listen to us. It's like a natural amphitheater.
That's awesome. So you don't bring any sound equipment, nothing, just all raw,
Yeah,
raw acoustic.
It all resonates off that side right where the towpath is.
So what's this other project then? If it doesn't have to do with that.
So the other project is just the metal band. So he had been in a metal band.
I think I remember him telling me something about this.
For a while.
Yeah.
And he has a rare story too. You'll have to have him come up and have him on here too, man. He'd be a great candidate to
he seems like
mic.
Him, and he's one of those people that like I kind of recognize, you know, as like you're an introvert, you know, like you're very to yourself.
He's a very intelligent guy.
Opens up slowly to people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think him and I saw each other like 3 or 4 times before we spoke a word to each other besides "good job."
Yeah,
you know, because that's
he's kind of laid back like we are, you know. But he never played any metal music or anything like that. I mean, I don't want to speak to his story too much,
right.
You know, that way if you do have him on here, but he kind of fell into this band and they did their thing and they needed a bass player, and that's when I first started playing music, was playing the bass. I mean, I was 11 when I really got into music, and I mean, there's a little story behind that as well, but it was kind of my roots. And then when I heard that they needed a new bass player and it was metal, it was just like, I'll fill in, you know. I want to come and check out a practice, just see how much fun it is. And
so you play bass in this band?
Yeah. So I'm the bass player, yeah.
No shit. I have a bass.
Do you?
It's supposed to be in here, but kind of running out of room.
You are, yeah.
I was thinking about putting it right there. Yeah, this is actually the holder for it. It goes in the wall, and then it holds the bass in there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's out in the garage. It's a 5-string something. I don't know. I don't play bass.
Yeah, that's what I got. Well, I got a couple of them,
but you know, Isaac Hawes, is that his name?
Isaac Hayes.
Yes, Isaac Hayes.
You got the BC Rich.
Yeah.
Is that what?
Yeah, we traded.
Remember that.
We traded, and that was where this whole guitar on the wall thing, like with the light behind it, it started with that BC Rich.
I remember that because he put out a post that he was just looking for a bass, right?
Yeah, and we traded, and like I didn't think I was ever gonna get it back. I was like, hey, this is a pretty cool trade for me. And then when he hit me up to get it back, I was really disappointed. I was like, fuck. I was like, it looks so cool in the video, you know. I'm like, damn. But you know,
I was shocked when he did it because he's such a powerhouse on the electric. But I mean, he was pushing for that new direction. I mean, he can't.
But he just needed to record.
Oh, okay.
The studio or in the studio, so he brought it back. It's out in the garage now if you want to take a look. But so you said you had a story there's a story behind the whole bass thing, like.
Oh yeah, so I mean I'll just go with how music kind of started in my life. I was always drawn to it, of course. I think we all are. And I remember as a kid be riding in the car with my mom going somewhere, me and my brother, and she'd always ask us, like, what instrument do you guys hear? Like, what do you follow when you're listening to music? And it was like a common question for her, and it was just strange that she would repeatedly ask that, because sometimes it would be different. Like, I'm listening to the vocals right now, or my brother would be listening to the drums and the guitar. And for me, it just kind of became a common thing that I was listening to the bass line, which is not a very natural thing. And I don't think a lot of people typically follow that bass.
Yeah, I mean, was she playing like Rage Against the Machine or something?
We listened to, growing up, it was all radio and cassette tapes and stuff, but it was a lot of QFM 96 and the Blitz.
Yeah, well, rock does have pretty prominent bass lines. Mm-hmm. Especially when you were younger, so this would be like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
You got that Korn era.
Right, I remember that.
Oh, man, I was into that.
Yeah.
I never had the Jinkos. I never did the Jinkos.
The Jinkos?
The big wide leg Jinkos.
I had the Jinkos. I was back in my skating days and all that stuff.
I think everybody who wasn't a skater.
Right? I know.
Do you skate? No, I blade now, bro.
Yeah.
I blade. I get my wax in my pocket.
Yeah.
How old are you, man?
I'm 34.
34? Yeah, so you're close. We're near the same age. Mm-hmm. A few years ahead of you. So you would be drawn to the bass.
Yeah. So started out, and my brother, he started playing guitar. He's 4 years older than I was. So it was always, that's somebody you look up to. Whether you want to or not, it's just something that's there that you see. And growing up with a sibling or anything, I'm sure everybody can relate to that.
Yeah.
And I don't think he wanted me to be a guitar player. So he had two different guitars, and it was like, I'm a guitar player, Kyle. Like, you gotta pick something else. So.
Look at that bass over there.
Yeah. So I just remember being in his room and like looking at Guitar World magazines and stuff, and like, I remember seeing the first one with Dimebag Darrell on the cover. This was the same specific day where it all started. Yeah. And
I'm just gonna turn this fan down real quick.
Oh, you're good. So he took his old guitar, because he just had gotten a new one, and he took the bottom strings off to where it was just a 4-string guitar, and he tuned it down.
So he made a bass.
He made a bass because my hands were small. I was just a little dude, and he gave it to me and just started like teaching me little things. He had a little practice amp, and then sure enough, he kicked me out of his room. Go over to your room. Take that over there. I just started fiddling with it here and there. And, Christmas came around. My parents, there's a nice-ass bass sitting under the Christmas tree and an amp. It was all I got that year, but...
That's all you needed.
That's all I needed.
That's all you needed. Man, that's a really cool story. Your brother could have went a different route with that, and he didn't. He
I wouldn't want to do it any other way either.
Yeah, he could have been like, well, I play the guitar, get out of here, but he actually led you.
He did, yeah.
Away from what he wanted to do,
right?
But didn't discourage you. Yeah, he didn't discourage you at all. So was he pissed when you started playing guitar anyway?
Well, I didn't start until I was 16 when I started trying to teach myself guitar. And I'd played bass for years. Growing up with my brother, like we were shitheads, man. We were always in trouble. We were always grounded to our rooms, and our parents, they really pushed music. Like when we were in trouble, the only thing we could do is read books or play music.
What kind of shit would you do?
What kind of shit? Dude? I'd do everything. I'd sneak out, stay out late, break ridiculous stuff. Me and my brother we'd build little miniature firecracker bombs and blow shit up and light stuff on fire, just
rambunctious.
Yeah, just
things.
crazy stuff. Blasting rocks with a baseball bat out into the field.
So you and your brother had a really good relationship.
Not really.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
Are you guys trying to blow each other up?
Yeah, we did. We bickered a lot, but it was just, I don't know, maybe that age gap. But
Yeah, that kind of mirrors my brother and I a little bit.
Yeah.
In the age gap, he's about 5 years older than I am.
Mm-hmm.
He helped guide me to guitar unknowingly.
Right.
He brought home this Flying V.
Nice.
That his.
Grab another beer.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to try some of this gin? I got some of this aviation.
Let's do it, dude.
This
I'll
is.
try some.
I'll put it in my squeaky ass mini fridge. There's a glass on your table there. If you don't want any, I won't force it on you. This is aviation. This is the Ryan Reynolds company who makes this stuff. I've been looking everywhere for it, and I finally found some at Giant Eagle.
Oh.
So, I guess he just sold it for like $14 million. I don't know if that's the real. It was a ridiculous amount of money he just sold that company for. So,
Good for him.
you want it light?
Yeah.
You seem a little worried.
Yeah, I mean, let's do it. The night is young.
The night is young, and the couch is open.
Yeah, we won't tell you guys what time it is.
Oh my goodness, this is cool, man. It's the first time I've had somebody in here.
This is cool.
What was that? I was talking about something. Oh yeah, my brother and I. So he had this Flying V, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would steal it because he was like 17, 18, like much like you and your brother.
Right.
He was staying out late, partying with his buddies.
Oh yeah.
You know, doing that whole thing during the
Trying
summer.
to teach you what not to do. By
Kind of.
getting in trouble all the time. Yeah.
He gave me my first cigarette.
Yep.
Yeah, he was a little. Yeah, it was kind of like that. And then he would be gone at night. You know, during the summertime, we had no school, so I would take that Flying V and I would go to. We had a tree in the backyard in Texas, where I grew up, and I would climb up that tree all the way to the fucking top with the guitar and just sit there and just make noise. I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
And then Saturday Night Live would come on, you know, on the weekends, and I would watch the performers on TV, and that's how I started learning chords.
Dude, that's beautiful.
You know, and that's I still to this day. I think I'm learning now because I have to tune, but if you ask me what string any of those are off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you.
We are so much alike. I'm the same way.
Are you? I always feel weird telling people about that.
Yeah, I'm the same exact way. I'll be playing with somebody and they're like, hit an F minor, and it's like, you hit it, and then I'll watch you, and yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's that chord. It's that chord I invented when I was 22. I know what that one is.
Exactly. Like, how do you guys know all the chords I made up? Yeah, I'm the same way, man.
All right. You know, I'm gonna refresh my glass here.
Yeah, music's always been huge in my life. I mean, it's therapy. I don't know where I'd be without it.
Yeah, it is.
It's gotten me in a lot of trouble, but it's kept me from a lot of trouble as well, and it's helped me through all of it, good and bad.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Music's fun and strange like that.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me open this loud ass fucking. Man, like a Dracula's coffin. Nosferatu awakens for the night. All right, here you go, sir.
All right, roofie free.
Well, let's not speak too soon. Cheers.
Thanks.
I don't know if it's too strong or too light. Let me know.
No, it's delicious.
It's not bad. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I couldn't tell you the difference between a top shelf or bottom shelf gin. To me, I like movies. Ryan Reynolds makes that. I'm sold.
It depends on what color her hair is.
I'm trying to. You talking about like ginger? Is that what you're thinking?
Just gin, as in a. Now we're gonna have to explain.
Yeah. Now you. Well,
a top shelf or a bottom shelf gin, as in gin was just.
A Jen.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Ah.
See, I see. Is that how you categorize your love life?
Possibly. Yeah.
You want me to edit this
I've
part
never
out?
explained it. No, let's leave this shit in there.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, I always refer to like my past relationships as my resume.
Your resume, yeah.
You know, like I think people should have resumes when they start dating. Like, well, let me see your resume. Okay, I see it.
Oh, yeah.
You did break up with this person, but that's kind of a fucked up reason why. Am I to expect this sort of, mentality in this relationship? You know?
Yeah, I don't see too much growth between this one and that one.
You seem to have a pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you really thought this through?
You want to see my resume? Fuck no.
Yeah. Resume.
Wow. Anyhow, what the fuck are we talking about? Music is life, therapy.
Yeah.
I have a weird relationship with music. It's a very love-hate thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a songwriter.
Of course.
Like you. But I don't write songs because I love writing music. I actually can't stand writing music. I find it to be tedious.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll let things build up. And then bleh, and it just they just come out. Like
absolutely.
So I mean, I've
just out of nowhere.
Right. I've gone through the years where I've written empty songs. Like, oh, that sounds pretty. Here's some words.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't like that. You know, I still some songs that I still play on my original set are from that era because they're okay.
Right.
You know, but in the past 5 years, 7 years or so, I've really just let these songs kind of write themselves in a very unique way. But like I don't.
You don't push it.
No, I have what I call a Frankenstein bin,
mm-hmm.
where I have like in back in my mental, bin in the back of my head where I have different lyrics or different guitar pieces that I've written, and they just kind of sit there, and then one day I'll be like, well, I got this cool idea. Oh, it'll go well with this piece. I'll put this piece here. Nope, doesn't work. Put that back in the bin. Grab this piece. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
that flows.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, and my lyrics they're kind of the same deal. Like one song can deal with many different topics. It's not so like one note. Some are one note, but even in that one note, they still kind of separate a little bit. The past couple songs that I've written, I've been inspired from my dreams.
Nice.
And how my dreams will kind of correlate with reality a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Which happens a lot for me. I think
you have real vivid dreams.
Well, vivid dreams, but like I run into the situation where I will. It's like deja vu, except I know exactly what dream this was from, and I think I experienced it when I went to the house.
You did say it.
Yeah. I was like that house on the corner. Like I've dreamt about that house before.
Mm-hmm.
And like. When I thought that when I went to the wrong house,
right? Yeah, you said that over at Gilroy's.
Yeah, and I was like, but that stuff will happen like 2 or 3 times a week.
That's
like
wild.
All the time. It's so like I if I'm with somebody, I won't even bring it up because I feel weird.
Mm-hmm.
I feel weird talking about it. I feel like people are like, yeah, okay, Well,
you feel that way, but majority of people have that feeling too. I mean, it's been a while since I've had that, but I remember. Years ago, that happening a lot as well. And who knows why? I mean, just the chemical energy that's going on, or
there's all these different theories out there. Like, some people I've read where it's like a multi-dimensional thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of, seeing something from another dimension of yours, or maybe you are traveling into the future, or maybe past, present, future doesn't exist. They're all kind of simultaneously happening at the same time, and you kind of just get windows into each one.
Something's leaking through.
Yeah,
possibly.
There's a song I wrote based off that, and it's called "You." I played it there.
Oh, yeah. I know the one.
Yeah, and this is one of those ones where it kind of mirrored reality because I was. Not really in a relationship, but I was seeing someone, and I fell hard. It was the first time I really dated someone seriously in a very long time.
Right.
And I fell hard and quick, and I shouldn't have. That was my bad, It was one of those things, man. Like, it was just... That relationship was correlating with this dream that I had, many years before.
Mm-hmm.
And in this dream, and many other dreams, I would come across this the one, or the soulmate, the person, my twin flame.
Right.
And in my dreams, she never has a face or a name, but like I know it's her every time. And in one of the dreams, it was we had this mirror, and she jumped into this mirror,
Okay.
and then the mirror fell and shattered.
Like just lost.
And I'm like, where did
point,
she
yeah.
go? And so I jumped into one of the shards.
Okay.
So hold on.
Yeah.
So in doing so, now this mirror kind of, you know, symbolizes almost different dimensions. You know, each shard is a different dimension, sort of thing. And so now I'm searching for her, and there's one spot that we would see each other, and
Oh, okay.
you know, it would only be for a few seconds. We would see each other, and she'd be like, "It's really me," because she'd have to tell me when it was really her, because I would run into different versions of her that weren't her, but they were her.
How strange.
But they weren't the one that I knew.
Yeah.
And she says, she told me, she's like, "Steve, you're not gonna find me. Like this is how it's going to be for a very long time.
Right.
You know, you're not gonna find me. Not in this lifetime."
That's wild.
You know, and we kept zipping through different dimensions. Like, you know, she would find different versions of me, and I'd find different versions of her. And she just told me, find a version of me and settle with it, because you're not gonna find me again. You know, it's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so the song "You" is about that, and also with this new blossoming relationship that I was going into, and I kind of put them together because we were very on one level.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, she kind of had the same experiences and something like this. I'm not going to go into grave detail, but
No, yeah.
but basically that's how the song was written.
Yep.
You know, and I have other songs. It's kind of the same deal. I'll just take inspirations from dreams and
that's
real life and stuff like that.
Kind of how I do it. Not from dreams necessarily, because I really have no recollection of dreams anymore. It's been probably since I was like 15, really. And I was a very vivid dreamer. Like, I had night terrors as a young child and growing up, and always had issues with that. And you know, once I hit around that 15, 16 year mark, it just, I guess maybe I mentally found a way to block them. I don't know. Every once in a while, I'll get these little kind of deja vu moments where it's like, okay, I mean, obviously I know that I dream. Everybody does. It's just something that happens naturally, but there's just something in my mind that has blocked it off. It's strange.
Yeah, I go through waves of that.
Yeah.
Where there'll be this. I think I'm going through one right now. There's a span of time where I won't remember my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
But the dreams I do remember are very vivid, like you say.
Right.
I'm so vivid, in fact, that when it does happen, if I'll start writing down in a dream journal that I keep.
Yeah.
You know, because things are just so.
I try to draw pictures.
Yeah.
When they do leak through. Like I had this wild one. I feel like, you know, if I go through a lot of stress and heartache, you know, there's a dream that's gonna pop through within that week or so. You know, it's just bound to happen. I'm gonna get a 2-minute clip of something that happened while I was unconscious, just doing my thing. And the last one that I had was really strange. It's funny because I go from I don't remember my dream to now I'm gonna explain a little bit of one.
Well, but you said you remember sometime. You have a little.
It's just
spots, yeah.
I remember kind of feeling trapped in a building, which I associate with, you know, my job and working and doing what I do and all these people around, and then you know, seeing my children outside, so I'm trying to get to them, and all this weird stuff's going on in between. I mean, it's definitely not reality. And I remember going outside, and this was the weirdest part that I remember was, you know, I was by the water, but I was also out in the country, and there are these two trains, and they're giant trains, and each train car was almost like a house. But I don't know how to explain it, but they were still on a track,
Right.
and they were moving,
like in unison with each other.
Yeah. So it was like, the land was the land, but it was like almost the suburbs were just moving around Earth, and I was like trapped in between them, trying to find my way through to get to people that I recognized. And I mean,
that's very
what does that mean? I don't know.
Like first thing I thought of was like, the world's moving so fast around you, but you know, like it's almost like cattle. Like when you don't want to. You want to separate yourself from the herd, Yeah. I'm not going to jump on this train with it.
Yeah, I was just stuck in the center of it all while everything was moving. It's really weird.
When was that dream?
It was probably like, say 2.5, 3 months ago.
Not too long ago.
Yeah.
Do you feel trapped
I
in the world around you right now?
I really don't. I feel like never really felt trapped. I mean,
maybe we're looking at it the wrong way then. Maybe it's not trapped. Maybe it's just, you have a clear goal, like a family-oriented goal. Mm-hmm. But maybe it's the world around you is really busy.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Maybe something like
I think it's there. Weird. Yeah, I think they're there to really get your brain moving. I mean, you shouldn't just settle on one scenario and one explanation of anything.
Oh, no.
I truly don't.
There's lines, and actually even in the song since we're talking about it, that I wrote, and I wasn't sure why I wrote it down. Right. I was like, there's a reason, like, I don't know. And then later I'll kind of decipher, like after, this happened or that happened. Mm-hmm. And then, the conclusion of that relationship, answered what I wrote this certain line about. I'm like, okay, well, right. That's why I ended up writing that line down.
I feel like there should always be fantasy in trying to find reality,
and vice versa.
It's important, yeah.
It's dreams are such a unique situation. People don't even know why we have dreams. Like, I don't think there's an explanation besides your brain's just on.
Yeah, exactly. There's no off switch.
But like, which I can get. Okay, it plays little fucking movies of information that you've collected throughout your entire life, and it's just kind of keeps going. Keeps replaying, and then it gets mixed with other memories, and then next thing you know, you have this mixed bag of what the fuck am I dreaming about?
Yeah.
But then it's dreams like the ones that I've had where I've been somewhere.
Right.
I know this. I've lived this moment in a dream.
Yep. And I do have deja vu. I do have that, which is really strange. I mean, it's very
deja vu. What
far between.
Weird. What is that?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? Dude, what do you think about stuff like? Do you believe in multiple dimension sort of life, or like what's Kyle Browning's interpretation of life?
I mean, is
that too big of a question?
No, not really. I mean, I'm still trying to figure it out, but
I had to say that's probably one of the best answers right there.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure it out.
We're never trying to figure it out, but
not
in my perspective
now anyway.
And how, like, people are so hard on others with their beliefs and what they believe in religiously or anything like that. I mean, even you pull the race card into it and culture and things like that. The way I feel like my parents have raised me this way is that everyone should have their own belief, and if it's like-minded to somebody else, that's fine. But if it isn't, that's okay as well, because that belief that they have and that feeling that they get for believing in it, I mean, that's what life's all about. That's their right to believe that, whether it's right or wrong to somebody else. I mean,
yeah. Well, yeah, it's really none of my business. If I don't agree with you,
right?
Okay.
Unless
you're like, like
if it's a harmful way,
right? Yeah. If you're like the serial killer, and I'm like, well, I don't believe in what you do, but I will fight for your right to do it. No, that's not going to happen. He
believes in eating people. I mean, that's just let them eat people. No, I'm just, there's lines to be drawn, but
live and let eat.
Yeah, live and let eat. But I do. I mean, I I feel like I've been preached to, and I'm never offended by it. I'll sit there and I'll listen to it, and I'll reflect on it, and there's pieces from it that I'll take home and wholeheartedly like implement into my life. And I'm not a religious person, you know. I can't. I wouldn't say that I pray or anything like that. I mean, have I had those moments in life? Of course.
Yeah, well, like when you say pray, like what does pray to you?
Right. I mean, praying to me is just kind of like talking to myself, asking myself for strength.
Do you believe in a higher power?
I believe that there are higher powers. Like I don't believe in one specific thing. I think we've learned too much to. I mean, this is just going off of me. I think we've learned too much already in my lifetime to just narrow it down to one certain thing, one being, one moment. I believe that it's not just one thing that happened. It's a series of things that has happened and came together. But
ultimately, these higher powers are kind of what would they be?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for all I know, we could be. I mean, this could just be my shell. I could be some little tiny test worm in a tube in a lab right now in a whole different planet, hooked up to some electrodes, and this is
like
just
Matrix style,
right? This is just me. This is my shell.
This is what you believe is you,
right? This is my perception of it.
Yeah, it's anything's possible.
Anything, and I like to keep it that way. But I mean, you know, do I talk to loved ones that have passed away? Of course I do. Do I go visit their graves, or you know, maybe something happened and there's a special place where they left the earth or wherever they went to?
Yeah.
Of course I do. I do that. Do I go to church? No, I don't go to church.
Well, religion is a little different. Yeah, religion to me is people trying to make sense of the world around them, you know, by looking to the sky, and like they don't know the answer to something, so they'll look to the sky and try to find the answers there.
Yeah.
You know, like I have this theory that I've always had in my head about, you know, astrology. You know, you have astronomical signs, you know, and like, are you a Gemini? Are you a Pisces? Are you this?
Right.
You know, and
no, I'm big into that.
Right. What? I'm a Pisces through and through.
I am as well.
What's your birthday?
Huh?
What's your birthday?
February 21st.
I was supposed to be born that day.
Really?
My natural father's birthday was February 21st, and I was supposed to be born on his birthday, and he passed when my mom was pregnant, but I was 2 weeks late. It's on March 11th.
You want to know something weird?
What?
My mom's birthday is February 21st.
Isn't Kurt Cobain's birthday February 21st too?
February 20th.
Ah, see, I knew. Yeah, okay, close.
My son's mom, I forget which day. I mean, but it's close. I think we were 2 or 3 days apart. I think she was the day before Kurt Cobain's birthday, whatever day it was at. But that I think that was ironic as well. I believe
that would be the 19th.
The 19th.
What I was trying to say was, like, you know, like I'm a Pisces through and through, and I see me fall into this Pisces thing. You know, like, you know, I spend half my time in dream world, half my time in reality. Yep. You know, and I've learned to kind of bridge the two and just kind of like seem as normal as possible, yeah. Like whatever that is.
Yeah.
But where I really start to find the disconnect is, I feel like the connection of people's birthdays and, you know, how they what makes them how they are, you know, what makes a Pisces, what makes a Gemini a Gemini. You know, it's not clear cut across the board, but you can definitely see a lot of similarities from people around that have the same birthdays, mm-hmm. You know, in their actions and what have you.
Mm-hmm. Compatibility and things like that. And
so, but I think people look to the sky for these answers, and they came up with these stars, and, you know, they started drawing patterns, and they're like, ooh, this is what this is. Mm-hmm. In my world, in my mind, it's like, I think they're looking in the wrong direction. I think this is an earthly thing, an earthly connection. You know, when you were born on this planet. I think you're connected to this planet in that realm, in that way, and that's why I don't think it has anything to do with stars.
Really?
I really don't. I think that's I think it's a bait and switch. Like,
Okay.
that people didn't know what this similarity that they were seeing with people who had the same birthdays. They didn't know what it was. So what do people do when they don't have the answers? They look up and start deriving their own answers from the sky.
Right.
Which is what the same category I put religion in it. I put astrology in that same category.
Oh, really?
I think it's cut from the same cloth. Just one is more freedom.
It's a belief.
Yeah,
right.
One has more freedom to be more whimsical.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bound by one certain god or a book of way you should act or anything like this.
Right. Right.
But that's how
I feel that.
That's how I kind of see things. I think our connection with when we were born has to do with we should probably look at the ground
towards your
below
roots.
us. Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
More root connected.
Right,
because like that. And
think about this: if you go, shoot yourself into the next galaxy over, those stars look completely fucking different. Or not the next galaxy. I mean, go just anywhere else in this solar system.
Mm-hmm.
Those stars won't look like that anymore. They're not in that same shape.
See, I've always myself. I mean, I feel both of that. I feel a little bit of all of that. I mean, I feel the religion part of it, the astrological part of it, and just the earth rooted part of it. I mean, that's why I've never been able to pinpoint like religion. Like, I've never been able to really make sense of any of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because my parents kind of left it open, and it was like, if you want to go to church, we'll go to church. Like, my friends would go to church on Sunday and, stay in the weekend or the night with your friends, and their family gets ready to go. And have I been a couple times? Yeah. But I just felt like it was, I felt like I was kind of closing off myself in a situation like that. I felt uncomfortable. It gave me anxiety to sit and be told just this one direction that I'm supposed to follow and believe in and interpret, and I felt like I was robbing myself at a young age. And I'm so glad my parents didn't just keep doing that, and I don't mean that with disrespect to anybody that believes in what they believe in.
Oh no, absolutely. It's good I think it's a good thing for some
I do
people.
too. I truly believe that as well, but that's why I think it's important for us to believe. Like, whatever it is, I mean, I don't shame anybody for it.
See if I can remember her name. Amy. I cannot remember. I'm gonna have to look.
Musician?
No. This is. You ever seen the show The Dead Files?
All
right. Well, there's a show, and they have a medium on there.
Okay.
And basically the show is they have this guy who was a New York police detective for like 25 some odd years. Okay. And then they have this medium who's really into it. What is her name? I'll look it up as soon as my internet loads up here. She she does medium things.
Right.
And
I'm in tune with that stuff.
So what they'll do is they'll get a let me look up her name real fast.
Yeah, you're good.
So her name is Amy Allen, and she, I'll listen to interviews with her, and I'm not going to go into detail about it, but I'm really into that. I have my own personal experiences.
The medium stuff?
Yeah, I have my own personal experience. Well, maybe we can dive into it. I have my own personal experiences with it, and I've had to separate myself from that world. Okay. But she...
Yeah, I think we've had side conversations about some things. Yeah.
Yeah, she somebody asked her, "Do you believe in God? Do you know what afterlife is like? Which religion is right?" Essentially, is what she's being asked here.
Right, because she's a medium.
Right, and she's hardcore. Like, if you listen to her stuff, it's out of this world. Mm-hmm. Like the stuff that she deals with. And it's a constant basis. She's opened that world up. She can drive by a house and tell you who's haunting that house just by driving by.
Right.
And some of this stuff is bullshit, from certain people. But I
I believe that
She's just like spiritually in tune.
yeah, and it's the way she carries herself. It's you can tell she's not like promoting it,
She
or
truly believes
she's
it.
being very careful with what she says. Like, and the way she answered this question is prime example of that.
Okay.
You know, she goes, well, because I asked, what religion are you? You know, and she says, I'm not going to tell you that. She says, I'm not comfortable with that. She goes, the best way I can explain what I've experienced with the afterlife is whatever you believe, you will create your own afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she goes on, you know, if you're a Buddhist and you live by the Buddhist way, and you know, when you die, your heaven will be a Buddhist heaven, or your heaven will be a Christian heaven, or your heaven will be a Jewish heaven, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
She goes, you kind of create that for yourself, and she goes, that goes into many different facets. You know, the way you are, the way you are with people, the way you treat yourself, the way what you carry with you,
Absolutely.
will continue. So you're going to create your own thing. You know, like if you believe in Christianity and you kind of create your own hell, you're going to live in that hell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if you think you're a Christian, it's not, oh, I'm a Christian. Okay, well then you're going to go into this heaven that you think exists. No, you're going to create your own thing.
I've always had that fear with it too, and in my belief, like I relate a lot to what she's saying, but I've always felt that if I just go and pick one belief and ride with it, I mean, am I really doing myself justice?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You don't know.
You don't know.
I think the best way is to be open-minded, and, you know, if you feel like you need to believe into something, do it.
Yeah.
But stay open-minded. I mean, don't say that Yahoo over there is, you know, going off the deep end because he believes in that, and
right.
Mama said that's not what you believe in.
Right. I mean, I think we can all agree that the only people you should shame are Scientologists. I mean, honestly. If that,
yeah.
I think I just threw out any integrity I had in this conversation just out the fucking window. Oh no, they heard me. They're on their way. That is one I had to say out of all the shit I've seen. Scientology is one wacky one.
It's out. It's
out
there, man. But
what I've seen, I probably shouldn't even dive into this.
Yeah.
But what I see when I see Scientology is just a big old marketing mafia thing, you know,
propaganda.
But whatever. To each their own. I'm only speaking of what I know when I hear, you know, these people come out of Scientology and go, holy shit, that is a fucking cult.
Right.
It's, you know, so I don't really have a foot in that race, but it's so weird. If you don't think it's weird, watch the movie. What's that? Battlefield Earth. That's based on Scientology.
Really, I haven't seen it.
It's one of the worst movies ever made. with starring John Travolta. Like,
okay, yeah.
Right, because he's a Scientologist.
Yeah,
you know, so
he is.
Watch that movie and just be like, how did they convince him to do this?
Yeah, that is strange.
It's such a bad movie. Anyway, I didn't mean to diss any Scientologist out there, but you know, if you have a problem with what you heard and you want to just enlighten me, please.
That's what it's
send
all
me
about.
Send me a message. Open my mind up. I would love to talk to you. I'm just speaking on what I know. Jen not doing it for you?
I mean, she did pretty well.
Oh, did you finish it?
Yeah.
Oh, let me know if you want any more.
Okay.
I bought that second. I bought that bottle for us.
Yeah.
Or for this.
I might have another one after this.
Okay. Just let me know. I'm trying to sip. I'm trying to be gentle.
Yeah, I am too. I know. You get a little nervous sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah. So that's I think that's a really powerful statement, especially coming from a medium that I respect and hold in high regard. You know, I know she's on a TV show and all this stuff, but even the TV show itself is in a very unique way. You know, you have this guy who's a detective, you know, and it's a reality thing. Like, it's not like a scripted thing. You know, they have actual people that say, hey, my house is haunted, and the detective goes and does detective work, finds out the history of what happened at this house, and then separately, she just goes to the house, and then she goes to the house and just sees what she sees. She has an artist. He draws what she sees and all this stuff. And then her and the detective don't get together until they sit down with this person and they compare their notes.
Oh, okay.
You know, and she's like, well, I see this person and they have, you know, an eye missing. He's like, well, actually, in 1935, Johnny Walker here got a shot in the face.
Yeah, what do you know?
What do you know, huh? You know, it's unique. Anyway.
I can relate to that.
And when I first watched it, I was like, her... I don't know. I don't believe in TV things like that. But then I started following her on like her pod. I don't know if she has a podcast, but I know she does like radio interviews, and she's been on other people's podcasts. And like I started listening to that, and just hearing her how reluctant she is to actually talk about certain things. You know, I'm actually not comfortable with bringing that up. You know, like
she's smart. She's intelligent.
She's trying to be respectful of the dead. You know, they're like, well, have you ever done this to the dead? She's like, no.
Yeah, we're not gonna. Yeah,
we're not gonna do that.
We're not gonna go into that.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. You know, and it's what the whole people watching thing. When you see people have these mannerisms, you can tell when there's a humble person who. The more real people tend to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
And then the fake ass people have podcasts. So.
No, not at all. Not at all.
This is. I had to throw shade at myself a little bit.
This is a beautiful thing, man. Like. More people should do this. I mean, this is what real life's about right here, is just connecting with somebody and discussing and letting it snowball and to what it is, and being open-minded. I mean, you know, as your listeners, I hope everyone's a little open-minded. There's going to be things that you don't like.
Right.
But
that doesn't matter. Like, I hope people listen. I hope they tune in, and whatever. If they like it, they'll subscribe. If they don't, they'll write something nasty.
Through it. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll write something nasty in the message board and move on with their lives. Yeah. I'm doing this for me.
Right.
I'm doing this for me, and maybe whoever else might be interested in hearing the crap that comes out of our mouths. You know, I'm saying crap because I don't know how it's up for interpretation. I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm here absorbing things from people that I think are interesting, and people that I will learn that I like I said, like the whole Scientology thing. If there's a Scientologist who wants to come over here and
we have so much to learn from each other.
Yeah, exactly.
We really do.
Yeah, you know, I'm not going to sit here and hate anybody. You know, and if I disagree with you, then like you said before, we just disagree.
That's another thing. Like, just comes to mind. I think about my interaction with all the walks of life that I do what I do for a living. You know, and. You know, I get along with them for face value, face time, but it's rare that I actually get to dive deep and really know who they are and what their belief system is and the things that are going on with them. And I've just always carried myself as an open person that I feel like a lot of people kind of open up to me a little more than they normally do other people. I just feel like that's just something that's been in my life.
As I said,
I think you can relate to that yourself.
Yeah, and as I said, you're a very inviting person. Like, there's a comfort, you know. Like, I don't feel like you're behind people's backs going, "This motherfucker, you can't believe all this shit," you know.
No, there's not what it's about. I would hate for someone to do that to me. So for me to do that, even if no one knew and I could get away with it, I would know.
Right, exactly. And that's a natural thing that you have. Like, have you always been that way?
I've always been that way.
See,
I'm so hard on myself.
I wasn't that way for my whole life. Like, I've had to learn to be more open-minded and things like that.
I overthink things, and I think it benefits me, but it obviously has held me back a lot, you know, with numerous things, but...
I think one of the most important things for anybody, somebody who's always had the gift of just, you know, being a genuine, you know, kind, caring person, or someone who's had to grow into something like that, is being self-aware.
Yeah.
Learning about yourself. Like, hey, I'm toxic in this way. I need to put that in check. Yeah. I've had to put myself in check. You know, I've grown a lot in the past, I'd say 10 years especially. Mm-hmm. Maybe 11 years. That, like, if you met me 12 years ago, man, you meet a completely different Steve.
Right.
Yeah, I'd still be me. I still have, like, my mannerisms. I've always been a caring person. I've always,
of course,
you know, loved people, but I've had my own traits that I was closed-minded off. I had my mind closed to it, you know. And,
I was there too, yeah.
And I've had to learn about myself and come to, you know what? I fucked up. I did some shit I'm not happy about that, you know, I've come to peace with on my own terms. And I hope if I've pissed off anybody, my bad. I hope you can sit down with me and we can break bread. You know, what's that Tupac quote? He says, listen, man, just because I don't like you doesn't mean I want to see you suffer. We can break bread, but you got to sit at a different table.
Yep. Yep.
You know, if it comes down to that sort of thing, you know, like that. You know, life is too short for hate and to hold grudges. And
I feel like a lot of the experiences that you go through in life, I mean, I try to like instill this in my children or just like anybody really, is that those hard times, like you can't have one without the other. Like you can't fully appreciate the good without having some bad. Like somebody that was just raised fortunate, given all these things and not a worry, you know, everything's done for them daily, and you know their whole entire life's mapped out, and you're going to go to school here, and then you're going to go to college here, you're going to get a degree here, you're going to live here, you're going to have this life, and you're going to have 3 kids and a wife and all this, and it's all mapped out, and it's like what are you really living at that point?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You didn't struggle for groceries, your electricity never got turned off one day.
And that's not their fault.
It's not. Yeah,
they're not a bad person for that. And that's something I've had to put on myself to like, hey, don't judge somebody just because they came from a better position than you, or you know, for what, you know. It's very easy to almost get like spiteful. Like, oh, well, look at Mr. Perfect over here. You know, I've never had to worry about. Well, you know, good for you, man. Hopefully they take that and pass it forward,
right?
You know, to somebody else. Take that good fortune they have, and hopefully they become self-aware and realize how fortunate they are, and can pass that on. You know,
here's the point that I kind of have out of that is that somebody could go and lead that life and have that life and be very fortunate and have all these things. Somebody could live the complete opposite and struggle and fight and, you know, go into whatever situation, scenario that they had, whether they brought it on themselves or not. But at the end of the day, both of those people could feel the exact same way inside.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, that's the thing that people need to really understand, is that what you perceive and what you look at on the inside, man, we're so much alike.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could have all of that good but still feel empty.
Absolutely.
You could have all that bad and still feel empty, or the other way around, you know, left, right, up, it doesn't matter.
And there's a whole spectrum that you tap on with that, you know, of different lifestyles. I mean, you could choose anybody in this neighborhood, and most likely not two people have the same exact life. You know,
of course.
Mine, your life. You know, here we are, fairly like-minded people.
Right.
Totally maybe different integrities of why. I don't know what. We're different.
We're different. Yeah.
Our lives brought us here differently, but we're still in this similar mindset.
Right, and we're here together right now too, which is, you know, that's something too.
Right.
Just the interaction.
Yeah, and it's. I think people need to realize more how unified the world is than they do. You know, that's why we have this whole Black Lives Matter,
right?
You know, thing going on. I mean, we're at a point where we should be past something like this.
We should be well past this,
but we're not.
We're not.
But we're not. And you know, and as a privileged white guy, you know, like. I don't know what the answer is to that besides just close your fucking eyes. We need an alien invasion. I'm dead fucking serious. Think about it. Think if aliens came down, whooped our asses. How unified would we be then? We would stop looking at things from continent to continent, color to color, you know, race to race. We'd be like, okay, we're just things on this planet. now we have other planets to worry about.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like something like that would, like, what's the fucking, what, Independence Day, the movie, you know, unified everybody when they had to go fight these fucking aliens. I know movie side of me always goes to movies, but I think
I'm thinking that too. Like, I feel like if the aliens were starting to fly through our hood as in Earth, they'd probably lock the spaceship down. You know, as soon as they looked in a little bit, like, wait a minute, roll up the windows, lock the doors.
Well, I don't know. That's maybe they like, wow, let's see what this planet.
Yeah, these guys
you know what?
are wild.
Nope. No, hey, listen. Let's stay away from that. Stay away from that Milky Way strand of this solar system. It's a little
hazy.
It's a little hazy over there. I don't know. Other theories I've heard is like, you know, we've been conditioned by aliens, you know, to be this way. And like, so I was listening to a podcast today, and it was the Joe Rogan Experience. I told you I was listening to, and he said, think about this. He says, think about the correlation between when we started getting alien sightings and when we started doing nuclear testing. He goes, okay, so like we started getting more sightings when that started happening. He's like, now imagine if, like, and I'm paraphrasing here, now imagine if we saw an island of monkeys and we're just watching the monkeys from afar. Oh, look at that island of monkeys over there. And then all of a sudden one monkey pulls out a gun. We're going to be like, we'll probably take the boats out and start scoping out these monkeys. Well, how serious is this? Yeah. You know, he put that in perspective. Like, maybe aliens know we're here, but they're kind of showing up, like in all these sightings, just kind of keeping an eye. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, I kind of feel like they're already here. I mean,
are you an alien, Kyle Browning?
I could very well be.
So, like, do you think we could be aliens and not know it?
I do.
Like, do you think it's a hybrid thing, or do you think we're just fucking aliens that just took over and our ancestors have lost went down with, you know, the Atlantis, mythology, and
it kind of goes back to the we really don't know. I mean, it's to be interpreted, and it's a guessing game, and
it's another dream.
Whatever you want to put your heart into,
another religion discussion.
Yeah, is where it is. I mean,
but in all seriousness, like I was using the alien attack, as something to unify. I mean, even COVID-19 could be put in this category of, you know, unifying us a little bit. You know, now we're all at home. You know, when in retrospect, you know, all of us are at home, but the world is different.
The world is so different.
It's like, I don't watch TV.
I've never been big on TV.
You know, I love movies though. Yeah, you can tell I'm a movie guy.
You're a movie buff.
So, but when I go to my parents' house, they'll be watching the news or like American Idol or something like that, and I just forget. Oh my god! Like, they're doing like American Idol from, you know, remote locations, and like it's all like, wow, TV's different than what I remember TV being
as a kid. Yeah,
or even like 3-4 years ago when I stopped watching television. You know, like it's an alien world, and now you have, you know, all these celebrities doing things remotely because it's bringing them down a peg, you know, and that goes with, you know, government officials, you know, people who are on their high horse. Well, if you want to stay healthy, stay the fuck home,
right?
You know, or go out in public and wear a mask. You're not protected from this.
Yeah, I feel
you're not separated.
In a way, it's kind of evening things out. You know, if it depends on, you know, what your perspective is on it, but in a way, I think there's a lot of divide happening.
Like in the wake of COVID-19?
In the wake of course. I mean, look at what stemmed from it. I don't want to get too far into this. We don't want to get political or anything on this, but
I don't think it's being political. Sharing an opinion,
no,
you know. I'm not. But
I feel like
if you feel uncomfortable, we'll get off the topic.
No, I feel like there is definitely a divide happening, and Do I feel like that's a necessarily a bad thing right now? I don't think so. Like, I think the divide needs to happen. The friction needs to happen to get over whatever hump that's keeping us from progressing together as one. I mean, I feel like everything plays into itself. It's nasty right now.
It is nasty, but it needs to be nasty.
It needs to be.
It needs to be nasty. You know,
we got to have those hard discussions, and the
darkest night is just before the dawn sort of situation. You know,
right?
And this whole COVID-19 thing was kind of the Black Lives Matter, and you know that the whole police killing, murder of Floyd, George Floyd.
George Floyd.
It's like a cocktail of just perfect timing.
Right.
You know, here we are, world gets shut down. People are out of a job or can't work. You know, and then
people are sick.
People are sick. They're dying. We're like, holy shit. Okay, this is only gonna last a few weeks.
Right.
Okay, maybe just a few more months. It'll be done by summer. And now we're looking maybe in a year.
Now you got.
Is this gonna be permanent?
Your regular friend that has allergies, seasonal allergies, and they walk up and they're like sniffling, and you're just like,
it's a fucking witch.
Why am I paranoid that you're having your seasonal regular fucking allergies?
Yeah, it's a Salem witch hunt for people with allergies.
Right.
Like get them torches and pitchforks,
man.
But so what I think happened, or what I observed happening was, so we all get locked down, and then the George Floyd thing happens. Terrible fucking situation. Fucking.
Horrible.
I watched that whole video.
I still can't.
I
wrap my mind around it. Like,
I watched that whole video, man, and it's a very disturbing video to watch. But as an empath person, like I wanted to feel that,
right,
as much as I could through a video. You know, I wanted to feel that. And it's very emotional.
It is.
So that happens, and so you have all this tension from the world shutting down, building up, and then this happens, and I think that just broke, and it created this perfect storm of where, like, you know what, we're gonna take to the fucking streets. We've had enough.
This perfect storm of change.
Right, you know, and then you have the Black Lives Matter movement, you know, happening, and that even got weird. Like the way that was handled was weird.
I mean, you had two different aspects of it. Just like with anything that's going on. I mean, you've got the more logical, directed, oriented situation, and then you have these people that are more radical and you know, far right, far left, whatever side you want to call it.
I don't even know which one's which.
Yeah, let's just call it a far direction. I mean, it doesn't have to be one side or the other, because then you're playing into it. Just a different direction.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know what the answer is besides just be kind to one another. What's that? Right. Like, why can't we do that?
That's the answer.
You know, people getting triggered over, you know, statues being taken down.
Right.
You're like, who gives a fuck about the statue? Well, you're destroying memories. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure that history's still there, isn't it?
Right. The history is still there, and I think we're starting to find out that some things were fabricated. Yeah. I mean,
the reason why the statues were erected to begin with.
There's just so much. Yeah, you're nobody's ever gonna know 100% one way or the other.
It doesn't matter.
Be the right person, and it's not about being the right person, but it's about being a decent person, and I truly feel like we all just have to stay strong and open-minded to really make this work and change and stop looking at a certain culture or belief as a horrible thing. I mean, when you think of atheists, things like that, I mean, people that's the devil's work, right? But if you really dive into atheism and things like that, I mean, there's light within that belief system.
Right, but there's also dark.
But there's also dark. And I'm not affiliated with that by any means. I'm just using
but
it as an example.
Atheism,
but
like being an atheist is like, to me, it's just like saying you're a Christian. It's a belief. It's a belief. Yeah. It's another religious form that they don't understand is also religion.
Yeah.
In its own.
I mean,
in the way it's in the way that it works.
Right.
It's people with common beliefs coming together to discuss these beliefs, and just so happens that their beliefs are to disprove another belief.
Right. And some people would say, like me, for instance, not having a specific belief that I'm the wrong one. You know what I mean? I'm the lost one.
Yeah.
Maybe I am, but
I don't know if there is a
I don't
know if there is a right or wrong when it comes to that.
I feel like if you feel it in your heart, man.
I know there's a right or wrong with how you treat people.
Of course.
That's a right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And this history's still going to be there. Take down the statues if it's making a whole race of people feel uncomfortable. I mean, I don't see Hitler statues, hanging out just because people want to remember
with that,
the history.
With that too is like, what is history? I mean, is history what we were all taught identically in grade school? No, it's not.
Tell us again how they discovered electricity, the kite and the key.
Right.
That's taught in books all around elementary schools with Benjamin Franklin, and then a show like Mythbusters debunked that could even happen.
Precisely.
The kite and the key and the electric storm. It's like that.
Think about the media today, and that's something that I truly believe we've all learned through just to this point with the Black Lives Matter, with the COVID, with the we go back with all the terrorism that we've dealt with as a country within a world. I mean, just everything that I feel like we've learned so much, but the one thing that we have learned is that what has been right there in front of our face and taught to all of us as a mass group is just that. I mean, it's like the media just wanting to keep you believing this one certain thing when there's so much more information out there in life that has been lived and great things that have happened. I mean, just you think of the
bees are buzzing.
But yeah, you think of all the iconic people that you've grown up learning in school and all of that, but there's so many more people out there. There's so much out there that is our history and is the foundation, but a lot of us don't know about it until later, and it's irritating.
Man, I don't watch the news. I don't pay attention to the media.
I don't either. I listen, and I step in time to time just to try and catch up a little bit and do my thing. Like I'll listen to NPR music or NPR radio, and some people are like, "Whoa, what do you?" But every once in a while, I'll pop in.
Well, I'm really into podcasts. Like I'll listen to podcasts about people discussing these things. So I'm in the know.
Mm-hmm.
But like when it comes to like watching CNN or Fox News, I don't pay attention to that stuff.
Mm-mm.
And again, when I go to my parents' house, they'll have this stuff on, and like I'll just be like, oh my god, this is insane. Watching. As a matter of fact, one weird thing that happened is my son brought over his PS4 when he came to visit, and he had a free trial of HBO Max, and so we're gonna check it out. And then he jokingly said, "Ooh, Sesame Street," and clicks on it. Right. He's 16. He doesn't give a shit about Sesame Street. He just wants to laugh at it.
Yeah.
And it was like Sesame Street, the ABCs of COVID-19.
Oh, so it was a recent one, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me tell you, brainwashing at its best. We watched this to laugh at it. By about 15 minutes in, we were shocked. We were absolutely floored with what we just watched.
Right.
And it was an hour-long thing. We only watched 15 minutes of it.
Yeah. They're already setting it up.
What it was, start out, with all the Sesame Street characters doing the whole thing, hey, Big Bird, whatever. And they're like, we have our friends from CNN. And then, like, okay, so, Sesame Street has always had guests, right. Celebrity guests. I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's what this is. All right. And then so they had the CNN people down at the bottom of the screen, Big Bird and Grover or whoever the fuck, is up here, like, well, tell us about COVID-19. You're like, well, you need to wash your hands and da-da-da. I'm like, okay, whatever. Then something strange happened. The news people that were on the bottom section moved to the top. And now, the Sesame Street characters are smaller on the bottom.
Okay.
And then they're like, we're going to bring in our friend, Dan so-and-so. Now the Sesame Street characters went away, and you have 3 people from CNN
directly speaking,
talking just like you're watching the fucking news
to these children.
And they're sitting there going, well, you see what we really need to think about here. And like it was like you're watching CNN.
Yeah.
But at the bottom, every now and again, it'd be like they would have Big Bird show up and go, well, should I do this? No, Big Bird, that's not how COVID works. Yep. And you're like, what the fuck am I watching here?
Rolling down the tracks.
It's
man.
like,
That's
holy,
what I'm saying.
like, we all know that brainwashing and putting little implements of things into people's head has always been a thing when it comes to media and stuff like that. But this was like so on the nose. I could not believe it. And
it's sickening. I've heard that from other cartoons and things like that, from other people speaking. Like that's like a new normal thing right now.
That is insane to me.
Make sure you guys are watching what your children are watching too. Monitor that. It's important.
Don't. And unfortunately, we don't live in a world anymore where you can be like, oh, sit down and watch Sesame Street.
Right.
No. Now it's going to be hijacked by CNN.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if Mr. Rogers was still around. I bet Mr. Rogers would not stand for this shit.
Oh no, he wouldn't.
I don't know. I just had that vision of like
him as a badass.
Right. Yeah. Like Gran Torino, the fucking Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Rogers now.
Make my day.
Get off my lawn. I don't know. We need a new Mr. Rogers.
We do. Yeah. We need a modern day
for our children's sake. Get the ABCs of COVID. That's fine. ABCs of COVID. Let them know how things work. And one of the weirdest illustrations that I saw in that entire thing was this guy, one of the CNN guys, to try to, make sure, we knew it was somehow relatedly supposed to be for kids.
Right.
He was like, well, COVID, the coronavirus is actually like a ball with spikes on it. And then he'd like bring up this balloon and put a tiara or like a crown, like a king crown on top.
Right.
And he'd be like, it looks like this. Well, it doesn't really look like that, but it doesn't matter because you can't really see it. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
It's an invisible thing. Yeah. I mean, I think it's important to, and I hate to even say this, I mean, it's important for them to have knowledge of it. But then we're falling into the same thing that I mean, we as adults now are like, I mean, when I look back on all the things that they tried to pound into my head as a child going through school, and then here we are now, and they're taking down a lot of the statues and all the crap and doing all this, and it's just like, I just feel like we were taught this textbook thing when we shouldn't have been. There was so much more to life, and we're kind of doing it over again right in front of our nose, right underneath of our noses. Even with our society knowing and our generation knowing, we're still somehow allowing it to continue.
April 26, 1992.
Right?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Rodney King.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that all over again. It's the same. It's the same thing.
We're repeating history still.
Yeah. Because we don't learn from it.
Mm-mm.
And that's, I try not to get political on my posts on Facebook or anything like that. But I did post something a few weeks ago. I'm just like, hey, keep fighting.
Right.
Don't stand down. They're taking down the statues. That's not good enough. Keep fighting, because they're throwing you a bone. Don't accept it.
No.
Don't accept it. If you want change, be changed. Don't lay down. And again, for me, I feel like I don't have a foot in a race in this whole thing.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like I'm not I'm a privileged white guy like who wants to support my black and brown friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you know, I can't sit there and be like, well, is it really that bad? I'm not in that situation. I can't speak for them.
Right.
And I'll go around and hear people in conversations, you know, and here I am like dissing white people. And Doug's
Right.
like, I'll see a group of white people go,
Judgment
well, I don't
hurts.
understand why, you know, they're throwing a big fuss. I mean, is it really that bad? I don't think it's that bad. Of course you don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, because you're not in their shoes.
You're not in their
in
shoes.
that situation.
You're literally what white privilege is. That's what that is.
Yeah.
The privilege is not an insulting word of like, you know, how people take it when you hear white privilege. You're like, oh, I'm not privileged. Like I grew up.
I still don't even understand it myself.
Well, it sounds like you know. Oh, well, white privilege means you were born with a silver spoon in your hand, and you know that's not what white privilege is. I think the best illustration I've seen of what white privilege is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember where it was or who was putting on the demonstration, but I saw this thing where there's this group of students and they all, you know, different races and genders and all this stuff lined up on this field. And this coach was like, all right, I'm going to break this down for you. He goes, this is the finish line. All of you are trying to get to this finish line. He goes, if you're white, move up so many yards.
Right.
You know, now if your parents are wealthy, move up so many yards.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, now race to this line. He goes, that's what white privilege is. He says, that's what privilege is. He goes, it's not your fault.
Well, you know what? I think I've seen something like that.
Yeah, he's like, it's nobody's fault.
Like everyone look around at the position that you're in,
Yeah.
and he like went through as, you know, have you been through a divorce?
Yeah.
Do you still live with do you live with your father? Or
yeah,
things like that, right?
Things like that. Yeah,
Take a step forward or
right.
stay in
But
place.
the finish line is still in the same spot. So now everyone raced to this finish line.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, you know, these people in front had the better opportunity.
Right.
You know, it's not their fault. That's just how life was for them.
Yeah,
because that's
I've
what
seen
privilege is, and it wasn't like an insulting thing, you know, to anybody. It was just really what I saw was a public announcement for white people. Like, hey, don't take it as an insulting word. Don't get all triggered because someone said white privilege.
Right.
It's not.
It's a way to explain it to other people that are struggling with that exact situation.
Right.
I mean, it's just so hard to touch base, and I think a lot of us we're so afraid to say the wrong thing in public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We should be, you know, we should be worried about that, but like the racism thing, I mean, that's just, I've never understood it. I never will, and I've being a people watcher and being on the outline, like, sure, I haven't been able to really feel that. I'm a white hippie guy, right? I get judged. You know what I mean?
You got a tattoo on your neck.
Got a tattoo on my neck,
Fucking
right?
savage.
Yeah.
Look at this guy. He's fucking.
Yeah. My ears are gauged. I'm just.
Where's the heroin needle?
Right. You know? So I get judged. I know that judgment, but I don't. You know, because
right. you know it from your perspective.
I know it from my perspective, and there's something that I watched online that really got me, and it was they took like a group of, this might be weird as shit. I don't know. I'm gonna say it though. They took this group of children, like from 5 to 7, right? 5 to 7 year olds, and they all had different ethnic backgrounds and cultures that they grew up in, and they put them all in the same setting. You know, they had toys and books and all these things out, and guess what happened? They all interacted beautifully. Not one of them judged the other. No one separated themselves from the other. You know what I mean? Like it didn't matter the color of their skin. None of them could fluently speak properly at that age. You know, I mean, you knew some words at that time, but there was just no barrier.
Right, because hate is taught.
Yeah, they weren't taught that yet. Yeah. They looked at somebody as there's somebody right there, and I want to interact with them or I don't. I mean, there's no judgment. It's just like, hey, you got that cool thing.
You got
over
shapes.
there.
I love shapes.
Yeah.
Let me play some shapes.
Yeah. I've been trying to fit this square into this circle too. Like,
man,
we're so much alike.
Is that if that doesn't describe life, huh?
But that's just
trying to fit that square in that circle hole. It's been my whole life, man.
I know. So much wasted time. It's the circle into the square. It fits. Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's we're hopefully, and it's not going to happen tomorrow. And I don't know. I hope people aren't expecting it to, but hopefully, in like 50 plus years, we can even things, start balancing things out the way people are taught up, and
right.
But I feel like it's always going to be there. It's some form of racism is always going to be there. Just hopefully we can
Sadly.
put it. Hopefully we can put it to like, like the same category as smoking.
Mm-hmm.
That I know it sounds weird to compare it to that, but like remember people used to smoke in restaurants all the time. You're about the same age as I am.
Yeah,
You'd see that.
Child.
Yeah, I remember going
McDonald's
when I first smoked. When I was younger, I would smoke cigarettes, and let's go to the smoking section.
Mm-hmm.
Which now seems ludicrous.
Right.
To think, the smoke just stays on that side of the building.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up. The first bars that I went to, you could smoke in them still.
Yeah, and so like, but then that law came, and people were like, "Oh no, you can't take my smoking away from me," and now everyone, it's normal now.
Right.
People did their frenzy. They tried to ban it, or they tried to rebel against it, and they got smacked down for it, and they got fined, and eventually people just the smokers gave in.
Right.
And I hope, and I'm using like the smokers for no other reason, just to correlate the situation, in that racist role. The racist, will eventually, okay, well, I'm not going to win this war, so I'll go be racist quietly outside in the racist section.
Yeah, I'll just separate myself into an equal partisan of people that believe the same thing, so we can go and do it.
That sounds like a KKK,
right?
I think you just described the KKK.
Did I? Wasn't my intention, but
dude, this I'm done with this conversation. I'm done with that fucking. Listen, be good to people, man.
That's right, man.
Be good to people. I'm gonna do some more of this gin.
I think we need to focus on the youth. I mean, we want change right here and right now with any topic under the sun.
Yeah.
But I mean, when it all fades for us, there's another generation that's gonna step up, and it's up to all of us.
Yeah. What's the legacy we're gonna leave?
It's up to all of us to provide the best path that we can for them, and keep their minds open and positive, and not just this one directive. If we've learned anything in history, it's that, I would say. We don't live forever.
Although we think we do.
Maybe.
We think we do. We feel like we do. We feel like, I think humans feel like we're so just damn important.
Right.
Because we have thumbs. And
Opposable.
we have a consciousness of like, we don't see things that other creatures do to be as important as what we do, because we're just more important for some reason. Like I don't understand
that way.
Like,
I think creatures, they're more survival based. Like,
look at the octopus. Look how amazing that fucking creature is.
Mm-hmm.
This natural, escape artist. Who can, go through like a circle, the size of, a silver dollar.
Yeah, how amazing is that?
And then it can change fucking colors. It can change,
spread everything out, just look giant too once it spreads everything out. It can be dominant.
What would you do if I touched this table and I turned into the color and texture of this table?
I'd leave right now.
Dude, it's
no, but you know what I'm
fucking incredible. If we take what creatures do on this planet and apply them to humans are like, oh, wow.
Right.
That would be fucking crazy if you just turned into my floor. And
I think our higher power is just being able to communicate like more rapidly with each other. if you talk about the creature world versus the animals or the creature world versus the human race and everything, is like we're just able to communicate faster and quicker. And
are we? I mean, are we? What about the coral? The sea coral. Now, sea coral, there's many different species of coral. Mm-hmm. So if you take one species of coral, feel free to move that all around, whatever you're comfortable with. You take one species of coral, they spawn all at the same time, almost down to the same second. At the same time across the globe.
Really?
And then another species will do the same thing. It might be at a different time than that species, but all that species does the same thing at the same time.
Same time, okay.
That seems like a pretty global communication to me. Yeah. Something that we don't quite understand. Maybe we had something like that, but we don't understand it. I mean, I think humans may have at one point had some sort of global correlation that we didn't quite. It wasn't a telephone. It wasn't. Right. It wasn't the internet. But like, what about, you have the Egyptians, making shit out of gold and clay pots and all this stuff, and then you have the Native Americans over here doing the same fucking shit that aren't even near them, doing the same things around the same time without knowing that each other were doing them.
I feel like, just my perspective, that overpopulation has really played a part into that, and why we don't have that facet of communication, like you're talking about with the coral and everything. Like, maybe we've kind of overdone it,
Yeah, maybe. And now we're trying to make synthetic communication, through.
Right, how strange is that? Yeah.
Right.
Now we're trying to fabricate it's just.
We're trying to fabricate what makes us feel better.
Yeah.
I want to talk to my mom right now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk to so and so. I want to communicate with them right now, as opposed to having this global connection, whatever the fuck it would have evolved into with humans. I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. I don't know. I'm just kind of.
No, dude.
I'm just kind of finding connections and
same.
like
snowballing.
And trying to figure it out. But like, there is a global connection with things that allow it to happen. I'm no scientist, and I'm probably gonna fuck this up, but like, wasn't there something about atoms? Like, you can split an atom or something, and you separate them, in different parts of the world, and you do one thing to one half of this atom, and it reacts. The other side reacts to it.
Right.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if it's an atom or what.
It even plays into twins that were separated at birth, and the, when all the stories that you hear of them actually finding that, oh my God, I have another twin out there, and the similarities that they have in life, and the struggles that they went through, and the mindset, and it's strange because they're cut from the same.
Yeah, I've heard things about twins. Like if one gets hurt, they know.
They feel something for it. Like, whoa, I felt something for
there's
a
disturbance in the force.
Mm-hmm.
In their world, stuff like that is something. And I think it kind of goes back to that whole, earthly connection that, primitive us waving sticks, yelling at the bright thing in the sky.
Right.
We try to look up to the sky for answers,
Yeah.
And so we're like, oh, well, that star kind of looks like my foot. That's
right.
That explains why I'm this way.
Yep. I belong there.
Right. It kind of correlates with that. There's this earthly connection. Oh, that's my cat, Frankie.
Frankie.
He got neutered yesterday, so he's been a little shy.
Dude, he's doing really well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he couldn't do the cone anymore.
No.
He probably should, but yeah, we've been watching him. Well, my girlfriend's been watching him all day. I haven't been watching him at all since I've been home. But, yeah, the cone, he didn't quite grasp that it was there, so he kept just running into shit. It was it was comically depressing.
Yeah. Like, oh, it's so funny, but you poor guy.
Right. But yeah, that there's an earthly connection there, and I think that kind of goes with like with when people get to die, when people are deceased.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm a firm believer in the afterlife or whatever it is. You know, I'm also open to the idea of it being a multiple dimension sort of thing.
Yeah,
I believe that aliens could be a multiple dimension sort of thing. And that's something that I've had experience with that so strange when experiencing paranormal activity.
Yes.
And trying to understand it, trying to grasp it, and trying not to sound like a madman to people.
Well, I think where the madman to people comes in is really trying to explain it to somebody that's not going to understand it, no matter how well you can try and explain it to them and fabricate it a certain way to get them to understand. I mean, that's where the madman comes into it. I mean,
but like
you experience that, and you shouldn't really have to explain yourself. Like,
no, but
it was your experience.
But why is it so prevalent in some people and not in others?
This
is what's got me perplexed, and that's what kind of puts the question mark over the whole thing.
Is this a real thing or not?
There's so many people just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I'm over here like, well, I just had George tell me his name in my ear, and George isn't anywhere in this room.
Right.
Nor do I know George.
Yeah.
I've had this paranormal experience, but this person I'm talking to can't relate. They've never had anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very weird to, you feel like tinfoil hat guy, like you feel weird bringing it up, and I've had, relationships be affected by it, like it's when I told you I kind of disconnected myself from that.
Yeah.
One of the biggest disconnects that caused the disconnect for me was, I was getting so wishy-washy about it, that I decided just to dive all in. Okay. I've done it a few times in my life where I'm like, you know what, just bring it on.
Right. Let's do this.
And both times,
let's see what happens.
And both times it ended up in a negative light.
Okay.
But the last time was more so than the time before. The last time I was inviting things home. I would go to the graveyard, or something like that, and so it's like, hey, if you want to come home with me, I'm open-minded for this.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that was a very intense next 2 months. It was, my dreams were.
It's chilling, dude.
My dreams were out of this world. Very
goosebumps.
My dreams are very morbid.
Yeah.
Then I would start having
fatigue and
awareness during sleep paralysis.
Okay.
You know what that is? Like where you wake up, but you can't move or talk.
Okay. Just like kind
but
of
you're
paralyzed.
aware, but you're kind of, you feel like you could be in a dream state, and so like you're seeing things around the room, you're hearing voices.
Okay.
But you're paralyzed.
Yeah.
And you can't, like, you're aware, like somebody could be laying next to you and you can't get their attention. You're just like, you can't move yet.
I can relate to that feeling, yeah.
And it's called ASP, awareness during sleep paralysis, and I only get that when I'm welcoming these things into my world. And
yeah, I've never ventured down that.
Curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah, though I've had experiences, but I've never actually.
So, to sum this story up,
mm-hmm.
I started seeing things, and I was expecting it. I was ready for it. I was like, okay, this is happening, but it wasn't the things that I wanted to see. It wasn't a controlled environment.
Okay,
that's probably the best way I can describe it. Like, I was sitting at the computer, much like this. I had my computer desk. I was doing some Photoshop stuff, and I see this spider, probably about the size, a little bit smaller than my hand. Just kind of, and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And like, my girlfriend at the time was sitting behind me. I'm like, turn the fucking light on, turn the fucking light on.
Yeah, like something's in here.
Yeah, and then like it went behind the desk. I'm like, And so she turned the light on. And I just pulled that desk out. I'm like, where is it? Like, we can't miss this thing.
Right.
This is like a tarantula. What the hell is a tarantula doing in this fucking house?
Yeah. Logically.
Nothing was ever found. And that's, and I've heard, how spirits can morph themselves into things they recognize to instill fear, because fear is what kind of
the
feeds.
Fuel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Feeds the fuel. Mm-hmm. Feeds the fire. Fuels the fire. Whatever. And then the closet. The closet became a place of dread for me. Like I couldn't turn my back to it. I just feel like something was over my shoulder every time I turned my back to the closet.
Yeah.
And closets are another place where things hide. In the shadows and things like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so my dreams, the weird shadow spider thing,
everything just circling together and
right, and I knew what it was. I had actually experienced this before, and so I was like, fuck, I did it again,
right.
And I had to tell my girlfriend at the time, like, hey, I think I brought something home, and I think it lives in the closet. How wild, just coming out of my mouth right now. Sound like it's
of course
it makes me uneasy to say, Of
course.
2 seconds, not even 2 seconds later, our dog that we had at the time comes upstairs. Never did it before, never did it after. Started barking her head off at the closet. Just like something was like defensive barking. And she looked at me and she goes, "You can't do this anymore." And I said, "No."
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I can't. I said I'm not cut out for this.
Mm-mm.
This. And I kind of closed off that world. And the Amy Allen chick, actually, one of the things I listened to from her helped me through that.
Okay.
Because she said, someone asked her about, well, why is it that a Catholic a priest can go to a place and, say a prayer and, the thing is gone? Does that prove that, Catholicism is the way to go?
Right.
And she's like, well, no, not exactly. She goes, spirits are afraid of confidence. She goes, this is your world. They want what you have. They don't have it anymore. You do. You have to be confident and be like, this is mine, not yours. Leave.
Right.
She goes, so when you have somebody who's religious, you'll usually find that mediums will tell them, what religion are you? Okay, I'm Jewish. Okay, well then have a rabbi come in and do this.
Precisely. Yeah, it's
a comfort, and it gives them the confidence. The priest, the rabbi, whoever comes in, they have the confidence to, kind of get these spirits like, nah, fuck, all right, we're leaving. Like, oh, fuck, now they're confident too. All right,
oh, these assholes.
Yeah, let's go next door.
Yeah, exactly.
So I started keeping that confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And there's times where I've, not in the past 2 years or so, but there's been times where I've felt like things creeping around.
Yeah.
And I've had to.
Yep. Stern.
Yeah. Get the fuck out. Get away. It's so strange. Please help me not sound like a madman. Do you have an experience?
No, I absolutely do. So when
do you want another before we start? Do you want another drink or?
Oh yeah.
Do you want gin or?
Yeah, I'll take another gin.
Have a glass.
So I've had experiences throughout my life, and it kind of started. My first one was before we moved to Somerset, where I live now, and shoot, I must have been 5 or 6, and I remember just being scared. I went downstairs. We lived in this apartment building, and I went downstairs to get something to drink. I kind of like snuck down and climbed up on the counter and got a cup down and found me something. And then as I walked back up the stairs, right there in the hallway in between my brother's room, my parents' hallway that went up to their room and my room, I felt a presence right there. And that was my first fear, I feel like, of darkness.
I remember my first time too.
You know that
I know
moment where it's like,
you're like,
oh my God, I'm not alone right now. What's going on? And you just run into your room or cover up, do whatever you do. And I'll edit that out. I feel like that's a normal thing. I feel like
when we say normal, what do you mean by this?
I feel like everyone has had a moment of unassurance of being alone and in the dark. Like I feel like that fear is just that.
So like what? So like how a person handles that situation is kind of where the road splits with that in their world. Is it?
Not exactly. I just
like when you felt that presence. Like how did that affect you?
It terrified me, and how it affected me was the next time I was in that same situation. That
same house, same
that
everything?
Pops in, right? And then it keeps popping in and growing.
Was it the same house or? Like...
Yeah, well, that was my first like true experience of feeling like something was there. Did I see anything? No. Did it scare the shit out of me? Yes. Do I still remember it at 34 years old? Yeah, I do. Yeah. That was a moment for me. And but the biggest one was when we moved out to this new home in Somerset, and I got my room picked out. My brother had his room. My parents had theirs, and it was scary being in a new house. And we just moved, and I believe I was like 7 or 8 at that time, and didn't really know anybody. Started a new school, had all this other anxiety going on. Anxiety's always been a part of my life, anyways.
Preach it, brother.
Right. It's there, man. It's a constant. And
I'll let you take some of these CBD.
Yeah, I know.
Samples
I'm still feeling all right.
Yeah.
But so I remember. Long story short, I remember being in my room, and I would see out of the corner of my eye, I would see something walk across the hallway into the bathroom. And like the first couple of times, it was just like you kind of rule it out, like, nah, it didn't have. It was just something weird, something moved. So then it happens again. Then you start like closing your door a little bit, or turning a light on, or like making your voice heard, like, hey, like calling out to my brother, hey, what are you doing over there? And it started happening more and more. And I remember laying down, and it was before, I think, our air conditioning unit was in our house. It was super hot upstairs, so we had to have all the doors open and fans blowing. So didn't really have the option to close that door from that hallway off. And then it became like I could actually see who it was. So there was this man, and he would walk past my doorway into the bathroom.
Like an apparition. You were seeing.
I was seeing,
like,
something.
not out of the corner of your eye.
No, yeah.
You look up and you see this apparition. What did it look like?
Over time. So it was just a regular man, and he was bald. He had no shirt on, but he had like pajama bottoms, like your plaid Christmas time pajama bottoms.
He had like the flannel things.
And I mean, he was kind of hunched over a little bit, and he never looked over. Like it was just a directed right past.
Yeah, you weren't there to him.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah.
But man, it would freak me out. And I would go and I'd try to wake people up and tell them, and then it was just like, no, whatever, that's not happening. No one believed me. You're some little 8-year-old. Yeah, it's a dream. Go back to bed. So, I got over it. It didn't happen all the time. It was random when it did happen, and then it kind of stopped.
I wonder how random it was.
I don't know.
I wonder if it have you heard of residual hauntings?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that it will happen at the same time every time. Mm-hmm. No matter if you're there or not, it's going to happen.
It was going to happen right then.
Yeah. It sounds like something that was like that wasn't there to freak you out. It wasn't there to make a point. It wasn't like a demon purposefully trying to get your attention. It's just something that's. Yeah, but you said it stopped.
It definitely gave me fear. I think. I mean, it did, yeah. It stopped it. It wasn't like an every night, like, oh my God, here we go. I don't want to be in my room type of situation over time. And sure, there was like that week where it happened, and it was like, you know, I don't feel safe here. But over time, it just was like, okay, that's not happening. I haven't been hurt. Nothing's too scary. Well, then, you know, there's a couple times where then you'd hear noise with it, and you start hearing the footsteps first, and the creaks and the floorboards. Is it the old house settling? I don't know. Is it my mind playing into it? Possibly.
How long of a span of time was this experience?
I would say like 3 years.
3 years.
I was
like really expecting you to say a couple months. That's a long time. That's a substantial amount of time to have a reoccurring experience.
So here's where it all plays into itself. And I mean, judge me if you will. I mean, that's how I live my life.
Hey man, we're like Planet Fitness over here. This is a judgment-free zone.
That's my friend. Right. So my neighbor, and I just recently reconnected with him. He lives in Florida now. We were best friends for a long time. And so my neighbor's mom, she was a paramedic, and she was on, you know, they get the call, and she'd get in her car and turn her light on. I remember watching her as a kid and racing up and going to wherever, you know, there was an emergency happening. So she'd go and get in her car, turn her siren on, and go. That's all I knew. Like, man, your mom's so cool. She does all, you know, still don't know what it is, really. She's just like an emergency responder.
Yeah, EMT. My mom did something like that. It's like she probably just drove the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that my mom did that.
So there was a night where something had happened, and my parents have always been kind of kept to themselves, you know. You see somebody out, hey, how's it going? But it wasn't like, we didn't have a lot of people over growing up. It was just us. And they got into this conversation, my mom and Andy's mom, and they were talking about, you know, spirits and things like that, kind of what we're doing tonight. And they got onto the conversation of what I had seen when I was a kid. And my mom was explaining, you know, to a T what I just explained to you, the pajama bottoms, and the guy was bald and didn't have a shirt on, to this first responder. Well, it just so happens she wasn't always our neighbor, but she always had that profession. And the guy that lived in the house that my parents still live in to this day, there was a man that actually committed suicide, but it had nothing to do with upstairs, which is strange. I don't know how this correlates still to this day. However, she responded to the call. He was actually, our dining room was his bedroom at the time, which was weird. What? You know how houses.
So before she was your neighbor, still doing her career, she had a call to that house.
Responded to the house
that you lived in.
Yes. So
and she bought the house next door eventually, or rented or whatever.
Yeah. The one of her husbands owned that house. He owns half of Somerset.
Oh, okay.
And that was just a house that they lived in and was raising their children and was living right next to my parents.
And so this whole time she knew that story.
She knew that story, but we didn't know. You know, we never interacted. And I played with Andy for 5 or 6 years before all this came full circle, and my mom finally told me. So it turns out that the man he committed suicide in our dining room, and what he was wearing that night was he was bald headed, had no shirt on, and had pajama pants.
Dude, now I got goosebumps. Holy fuck.
And as a child, and I seen the same image, and they were just elated, like back and forth, like it was just this huge thing. Like, are you serious?
Wow. See, and that further proves to me that this was a residual haunting, because residual hauntings, what happened is it's like
I never felt in harm.
It's like a piece of history somehow visually recorded, and it's just on repeat, you know. And that could have been that night. That could have been like right before, you know, he did the deed or whatever.
The man was,
and he's constantly living that moment over and over and over again.
Perhaps
because I mean, I wouldn't imagine that you would A residual haunting wouldn't be necessarily the gunshot itself.
No, there was never any noise other than footsteps.
Imagine the dread, the emotional baggage being carried around from that man knowing that he's going to do that night. Mm-hmm. That's probably what you're seeing, that emotional baggage to replaying itself. Wow.
How eerie is that? Yeah. And
what a cool story. And you have confirmation. You get this confirmation from your neighbor.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you care if I swap a story with you?
Go for it, man. Let's hear it.
Because where I got confirmation once, this is when I started taking note. I needed to pay attention to my dreams. Mm-hmm. I had this dream once where I was on a bridge, and I'm like, there's water running under the bridge, and trees lining the water, and I look down, and the white of the water, as it's babbling through the brook, right. Whatever, it's spelling out a name.
Oh, okay.
And it was Charles, or Chuck. In my dream it was Charles or Chuck, and at the time I don't think I knew that Chuck was short for Charles.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it said Charles or Chuck. And Chuck, whichever one. I can't remember. I just know when I woke up, Charles and Chuck were in my head.
Right.
And so I kind of go down to the, to where the water is, and now I'm on the bottom side of the bridge, and I look through the tunnel, and there's a man at the end of the tunnel. Oh, he's fallen. Oh, okay. He's in the water, and so I go through the tunnel, and there's this guy, there's this motorcycle just laying in the water, and there's this body just like laying in the water, he's dead. He's waterlogged, been there for a while in my dream, and that's all the dream was. Very short and sweet, but it stuck in my head. I could not get this out of my head. I even drew, like what you said, draw pictures.
Yep.
I even drew pictures of it.
That's what I do. I'm not good with writing it out, but I can draw it out.
Yeah, and I was drawing pictures of the images that I saw. Mm-hmm. And that's, and even in the drawing, I put Charles in one part of the water and Chuck in the other, because those were the two names that kept popping out.
Yeah.
To me. And so I started talking to my mom about this. I'm like, Mom, this dream, I can't get it out of my head. And I just told her about it. And she looked at me and she goes, I told her the dream. And she's like, you just explained exactly how your uncle was found dead. My Uncle Charles. Went by Chuck, by the way. An uncle that I never knew.
Right.
You know why? Because he was kidnapped by his father.
Wow.
Like, he lived with, my mom's mom, and he lived with them for a very short amount of time, and then his father came and kidnapped him during the night, and this was back in the 50s, and, they never heard from him for another 30 some odd years.
Holy crap.
And she's like, yeah, your Uncle Charles went off a bridge into the ravine and died.
He's gone.
That's
what
I dreamed. Right, and that's that confirmation.
Yeah.
You got a piss? Oh, no, you're just walking around?
Yes.
Is it hot in here to you?
Huh?
Is it too hot in here?
Yeah, I'm burning up, but no, it's not.
I can turn that fan up a little bit.
No, it's all right.
I told you it gets hot in here.
Dude, that's wild, man.
That's that confirmation.
Yeah.
When you have that confirmation, you're like, I'm not fucking crazy.
Right.
And I'm not going to go too far into it, but the next 3 months of my life was my first experience. I told you my second one was what concluded.
Mm-hmm.
That was the next 3 months of my life, that opened a floodgate of craziness for me. I was having wild.
That is insane. What time is it? Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're at 2.5 hours right now. Yeah.
It's wild.
But yeah, man, that's another stories of ghosts and goblins.
I know. I dig it, dude.
The thing is like, what is that? That's the part that, okay, so there's our experiences, you know, but what the fuck is that?
I know it's kind of something that you set aside. I mean, you know, conversation brings it out.
Yeah.
Situations bring it out, but it's just something that you kind of just put back there. And I feel like if more people were presented that conversation and the assurance that, hey, it's okay to go ahead and speak it, even if you feel like it's in crazy nonsense.
Yeah.
If you've had a situation like that, like, express it. I mean, why not? Why not?
I'll tell you what, man. There's so like since I've kind of blocked that off of my life, my dreams have become more vivid, more intense.
Mm-hmm.
And they were intense to begin with. And I'm not going to go into it now. Maybe I can get Bonnie Humble onto this podcast because her and Robert got involved with one of my dreams.
Oh, like, really? There's some lovely people too.
Yes, they are. They're Bonnie and Robert.
Bonnie's been doing some good stuff right now. I mean, she's going to be locked down for 30 days.
Yeah, she's still like she's like day 15 or something like that, 20.
Well, she's getting close to the end of it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she's really doing a service for the community. But anyways, yeah.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. That she's Robert. I feel so bad for him because you know he misses his wife.
Oh my god! They're so lovey-dovey.
I went out to open mic a couple of weeks ago, and he was there by himself. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm like, oh, Robert, you came out to support, man.
Yeah,
this guy, he's you know, Robert. Well, I just want to support because I love my wife. I know she'd be here. You know.
Yep.
I love that man. His story. He's got a great story.
He's hilarious, and
he's got a really good story.
Should be someone else.
Oh, absolutely. My door is open.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a dream once where I was sleepwalking. Not in a dream, like I was reenacting my dream in my house. I was in an argument with somebody on the phone.
Okay.
I was sending Bonnie these texts while I was asleep. No, while I was asleep. In real life, I was texting her. In my dream, I was texting somebody else.
What? How strange.
Yeah. And I said some weird ass shit.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I woke up, I'm like, oh my God.
This happened.
This has happened.
Yeah.
And like, thank God they were such cool people because anybody else, like I talked to Robert, like I sent Robert a message, I think. I'm like, Robert, I didn't mean to talk to your wife like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's not how I talk. But in my dream, I was livid with somebody, a woman. I was like going off on her. Fuck you.
That's insane.
And like, in real life, I'm actually, like I was texting somebody. I was not Bonnie. I was texting Bonnie what I was texting this person in my dream. So fucking weird. So I had to kind of like open the doors to them and like,
yeah, okay, like, sorry.
So there's this thing.
Yeah. There's this thing that I did and
so, but I want to know what that is. I want to know what this correlation. I think this whole afterlife, fucking coral reef spawning. I think the astronomical, connections that we think the stars answer. I think it all comes back down to this planet, and there's something to it. And
I think it all plays its part.
But we're snuffing it. We're snuffing it at ends, and as you said before, fabricating. Different forms of communication, more satisfying, instant forms of communication.
Right, that instant gratitude is key in the human race right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
it always has been.
Has been. Look at social media and what it's done.
Yeah,
and how much life has really changed in reality. I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't have a phone. I didn't have a phone until I was 19.
Right, but has life really changed, or just? I mean, obviously it has, but like.
It's still there.
Our
direction has changed.
What was social media? What was the version of social media when we were kids?
I don't know. I mean,
it was collecting, riding around the neighborhood, seeing where the bikes were.
Right.
That's
like-minded people together. I mean, our social groups.
Yeah, but even then, we wanted instant gratification. And so, like, how much time did we spend on the phone with a girl?
Right.
You know what I mean? Oh, I got her phone number.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. You know, like, yeah, I remember those late nights on the
absolutely
my
chained on your bedroom phone. Yeah, I don't know if you had a wireless one. I did.
Oh no. Well, no, I had
wrap it through the door down the hallway into your room.
Yep.
Afraid that mom's gonna pick up or dad's gonna pick up. Like,
or they could pick up and you wouldn't even know it.
Yeah.
They'd be like,
oh, I used to do that.
They'd hold down. They hold down the receiver button and just listen in like fucking Big Brother.
Yep. I used to do that to my brother. Like, I know you're on the... Get off the phone. I know you're on there. I can hear you breathing. Like, click.
Instant gratification. That was looking on somebody's page back then.
Yeah.
That's the 90s version of that. You know, I think humans have always had this same thing. We just evolved the technology to do it.
I think at first it was... the first thing was chat rooms.
Oh, I remember chat rooms.
You remember that?
Random people in a chat room.
You could make up this cool ass alter ego chat name. Could be anything you want.
Fucking, pretend like you're a chick picking up a dude. You're like, dude, this dude thinks we're a chick.
Yeah, you can.
Even though you're probably actually talking to another dude who also thinks that you. Yeah.
Right, trying to prank each other. It's wild what has happened.
I think about medieval times, instant gratification. What was instant gratification for medieval times? Like fucking beheading somebody in front of the entire town.
Right.
Instant gratification.
Yep.
You know, King Henry, the whatever number, fucking
greed.
I don't want to be married to you anymore.
Yeah.
Chop, head's gone. Instant gratification.
Yeah, I feel like
we've always had that. We've always had.
I like technology. Of course. I mean, I think we're gaining a lot from it, but I feel like I don't like to do things too quickly, and I feel like things should happen in their due time, and that we're pushing too far ahead too fast, and we're not able to reflect on things. We're losing things along the way, and I think it's natural as a human race progressing, but
maybe. I mean, I could see that. I mean, absolutely. But I think there's going to be a balance to things. You know, there's that pendulum effect.
I hope.
You swing too far one way, you swing but too far the other way, and then you end up, in this balance.
Right.
Eventually. I think we're with that. We got technology. And we're like, ooh, look what we can do. Like, we got screens we can touch and instant internet anywhere we go. Like,
right.
Boom, across the board everywhere. But I do have faith, little, but I do have faith in the human race that we could.
Oh, I definitely have faith.
Use this stuff for.
I definitely have faith, but I feel like I said it earlier, like when I was talking about, what we possibly could be, and I described that I could just be this little worm in a glass thing on a shelf, and this is my shell, and I feel like we're racing towards that. I mean, with technology and we're basically racing towards being in our own pod, and being able to feel and have that connection and everything we need right here and right now, right there available, and not having to go anywhere or do anything. Like I feel like 100 years, 200 years down the road, like that's what we're racing towards. And
well, you say that we think, but hundreds of years.
I don't know. Yeah,
you talk to Elon Musk, he's like 10.
Or
10 years. He has that fucking neuro transplant that he's come up with.
I don't like it. I remember when I first read the article on it, and I posted something about it, and that was actually my first political Facebook thing that I ever put out there. Was like, oh my god, Kyle just put his opinion out on Facebook.
Oh, Kyle!
Kyle's
political.
Yeah,
that's the type of Facebooker Kyle is.
I'm that asshole now.
So you don't like the? I don't know what it's. I don't remember what it's called, but
I don't like that. No.
I don't know how I feel. I mean, to me, I think we better race to something quick because we're destroying this planet pretty fucking quick, and if we want to continue the species somewhere. Right. We're gonna have to jump forward. I'm bored with this whole cyborg sort of thing.
Right.
Connecting with, what we fear in computers and, artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
We fear that we're going to be taken over, like Terminator. The Skynet is going to take over and use humans as slaves. But integrating it in with humans, I think might be.
I don't know. Yeah, see, I think that's where our first thing is right now. I don't know about that. That's my biggest hesitation. Like that scares me.
So why hesitate? Like, I mean, okay. So if we we have this artificial intelligence, what's the worst that could happen? We could take over the human race.
For me, well, no, not just that. It's being artificial.
So you mean integrating technology with humans?
Yeah.
Being cyborg. That's what you're.
That's what I. Yeah, that's
you
what
think
I'm
you're going to
against.
start losing that human element.
Yeah, that's what I fear with my kids, and that's why like.
Yeah, like how important is a Picasso if everybody can be a Picasso?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we can all just instantly have that, how important is it? It's just like.
Right.
It goes back to the other thing that I said about, without going through those hard times and having those good times to relate to, you don't know the difference of the two. If you've only had good, everything's good.
Yeah. So, like, should there be regulation? Okay, let's say we can have this technology.
How do you regulate it at this point?
Let's say,
because it's all money driven.
Let's say Kyle Browning gets in a car accident, becomes paraplegic.
Right.
But this new technology can fix that.
Right. Right. So then what do you want? Do you seek being normal?
So
or
maybe
do you accept being
can you get a cyborg prescription?
Right. That's another thing.
Neuralink. That's the name of it. Neuralink. The implant in the brain. That's what
it's called, yeah.
Yeah, that's I don't know. There would have to be some sort of regulation. I would think. Imagine.
Well, it's based off using more percentage of your brain, and being able to truly access it like right then and there. And
is that what it is?
I believe so.
Is that to me? It seems more like from my understanding, and I'm far from an expert. I'm really just a monkey with ears who starts the telephone game, yeah. But it really could be what I believe it to be is more or less manipulating what we already know, what we already have. Mm-hmm. If your brain, the part of your brain is shut down to make your legs work, we can rewire that part of your brain to make your legs work.
Of course.
As opposed to as of now that I know of, and if I'm wrong, please let us know in the comments. What it is exactly, but I don't think it can. To my understanding, it's not an unlocking of a different part of the brain that we don't use. I don't even know if that's a thing.
Right.
I don't even know if that's. I mean, I've heard we use 100% of our brain. I heard we use 50%. I heard we use 10%. I can Google it right now and probably get 3 different answers. From my understanding, it's not unlocking different parts of the brain. It's just access to something you've had access to previously, or enhancing what you already have.
Okay.
If you
I dig that.
You can run faster. You're pretty much the $6 million man.
Right.
We can rebuild him. We have the technology.
Retain like I struggle with retaining information right offhand.
Oh, dude, I suck at that.
That is my number one flaw as a human, is just retaining it right then and there. Like,
but I
gotta work on it.
But I can remember my childhood phone number. Easy.
Yeah, there's like little things like that, but it's just like, I don't know.
So
is that a flaw though?
So would you, if you could have a Neuralink, connected to your brain to help with that, would you want to do it?
Well, and
how would that enhance your life? Is that worth it?
Here's how I feel, and you really don't know until you lose something to really be able to truly speak to that scenario. Like, would I do that? I don't know. Like, if I lost all perceptive of being able to retain anything, like a moment my son walks in and says something to me and then walks away and I forget it all.
Right, like
would I be more apt?
Degenerative brain disease.
Yeah, would I be more apt to do something like that? Absolutely.
Like Alzheimer's or dementia.
Yeah, if I could connect it to something that
but
that
where's
was
the line
within
drawn?
my heart, right? But
where's the line drawn? It comes back to
that
the
is
regulation. What prescription of cyborg are you allowed to have?
right. I honestly, like, I'm against it, but I'm against it for myself.
Right.
And
you're against it until you're not against it.
It's okay, yeah.
I mean, you're against it until you don't remember your grandson,
for instance,
talking to you.
Yeah, for instance, like I've recently lost my voice. Like I've hurt my voice.
Yeah. Well, we can fix that Neuralink.
You probably could, right?
Yeah.
However,
is that a problem? We can fix that.
However, like the way I'm starting to perceive it, and it's from good friends and advice and wisdom that I get from some of my closest friends was, I was able to have their wisdom without them even saying it to me, just for how tuned in and that I am with them. You know what I mean? I may not have talked to them for a couple months now, but that wisdom that I've learned from them and the traits and the things that they use in their lives that are positive is a part of me too. And I thought about it like, man, this is a terrible thing. I'm a musician. I sing. It's my therapy. And I can't do it right now. And if I keep doing it, it could prevent me from doing it longer. Because I could damage my voice.
Where discipline comes in.
Further.
Yeah, you got to discipline yourself.
So here comes discipline. But then there was one night where, I was super depressed about it. Like it got to me. Like it's all I wanted to do was I had to cancel a couple shows and not go and do a private festival and all this stuff because my voice was just shot.
Yeah.
It's still not right. And so I started reflecting. That's what I do, man. Just like deep reflection. And I'm pretty astrological, so I look up to the sky, man. There's just something magical about being back at my parents and looking at that same sky that I did as a kid that I feared that sky, but it's just something different about it. I don't know, the energy there. That's just me,
It's not just you. I think a lot of people.
Yeah, and I feel that, and I feel that
have their own sky.
I feel that with the roots too. Like it's a full circle thing for me. But anyways, long story short was, I thought about all the wisdom that I had gained from people that I had met, and maybe the reason my voice is out right now is because I need to listen more. Maybe that's what it's all about. Maybe it's time to quiet down. Maybe it's time to take things in.
It's and Neuralink would rob that experience from you.
It could. But would it do it forever? I don't know. Is my voice hurt forever? Maybe. But maybe not.
What about that guy, let's say, his legs don't work and Neuralink fixes that.
Right.
And he becomes the same guy with,
right.
new legs.
He can lift.
Lieutenant Dan's got his new legs.
Yeah, he can lift like 1,000 pounds now and do all this.
Let's say this guy never had Neuralink. Let's say two different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
One world he gets Neuralink and his legs work. Then we have another world where by sheer willpower,
right,
over time and therapy, he makes his legs start working again.
Precisely.
And you have a more humble person, that rises out of this, as opposed to someone who's just, oh well, your legs don't work, new legs.
There it is for me, Stevie.
Which person is the better person, and is there a worse person?
Yeah,
we don't know.
Say that
we don't know. But is robbing that experience of perseverance?
Mm-hmm.
Is that robbery? Is that something that you're taking away?
Right.
Or are you adding something new that we don't even know of? A second chance with new legs.
And that's that thing. So we have the same outcome from both. Like hard work, maybe however long it took for them to get their their strength back and be able to utilize their stuff, or this Neuralink thing that's instant.
Yeah.
Okay. But mentally, who's stronger there? I don't know. The person that struggled through it and fought and was determined and failed and failed and failed, or the person that just instantly went from having them, losing them, having them again.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I'd rather go through all that hell.
Well, you would
get it back than just instantly.
Well, you would rather go through all that hell theoretically if you got it back. But imagine going through that hell not knowing.
Well, and I feel like that's the fear of
what,
where we're going.
Now, what would you want to go?
Instant gratitude is right, the killer for us, man. That's what's dividing us. That's what turns us to this human race, to this alien fucking nation that's out there, where I can just
cancel culture.
Yep, I'm dying. No, I'm not. Yeah.
Like like people wanting to cancel everything now because it's instant gratification. Apologies don't matter anymore.
Right?
Somebody, hey, I shouldn't have said that 20 years ago. I'm sorry. It doesn't fucking matter anymore. You're canceled. Get the fuck out.
Right, canceled.
We're done with you because it makes me feel better right now.
Yep. Do what I want.
Yeah.
See, so I mean, there's so much good from both, but there's so much bad from both too, and it's just like
it's like one's a guarantee.
I'm old school. One's guaranteed right then and there.
The other one's not guaranteed,
but we can use it for good in both aspects. Absolutely. Like think of
See, like this goes back to regulation. Let's say, okay, well, let's put you through 3 years of therapy. And if it doesn't work, then you'll be, allowed to have a Neuralink.
Of course.
Think
of different scenarios too. Like say my grandmother. Like, I mean, this is real life shit right here. Like, say all of a sudden we find out that my grandmother's sick, and she has cancer, and she's gonna start losing her memory of you. And she's going to be gone soon. We don't know how long. Yeah. But
Grandma can't live forever.
Grandma can't live forever. And that's okay.
So is she going to live the rest of her days with not remembering everybody?
Right.
Or can we fix her while she has this time left on
Right.
her?
So can we put that Neuralink in, and she can still look at you and be like, oh my God, you remember this time, and this made me so happy, and express those beautiful feelings of the life that she lived while she's passing. Or it just wipe completely blank and be completely alone as she's going through that. I'm for the Neuralink on that aspect.
Right.
Of it.
So
absolutely
regulation.
It's
and this is something that Bonnie is probably experiencing now. Because I
line of work right now.
I worked in a nursing home for 5 years.
I too. Not for 5 years.
But you know.
Yeah.
You see what can happen when dementia or Alzheimer's takes over, and it's terrible. And then it's even more terrible when they're put in these fucking homes and just kind of left there.
And then all of a sudden their family doesn't,
And that's not every case, but
not every case, but
there's a lot of cases.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
sons
them.
and daughters stop showing up.
Yeah,
grandchildren stop coming, and
so looking at it from that perspective, with that sort of knowledge, absolutely. Like, I would never want to be in that position. I've actually had a real honest conversation with my son. If I'm ever in that position where I just don't remember shit, and I'm just thinking in circles, I said, just when I'm in if I have a clear moment where I like, oh my God, I know where I am for like 15 minutes, just leave my medication with me.
Yep.
Let me just take myself out. I've had that conversation with my kid. Like, it's a weird conversation to have with your son, but but it was only in reaction to seeing what happens in these nursing homes, where we no longer keep people alive because it's humane, but we keep them existing because we think it's humane.
Right.
And that's not living. That's just you're just there.
For me too.
Existing. That's
exactly. You're just stagnant at that point.
Yeah, you're just we're keeping you alive because you're giving us money to keep you alive.
For me, it's not just what I feel for myself in that moment, but I wouldn't want my son to see me that way.
Yeah.
You know, like you obviously you relate in that way too. Like if I'm to that point where that's what it is, and I don't know up from down or left from right, and like I don't want you to see that either.
Right.
It's strange, man.
Yeah, my dad had to go through something like that. He took care of his mom when she had Alzheimer's, and she would constantly call him by his father's name. You know, she would think that
yes.
he was her husband, and and he took care of her for quite a few years. I think, like that, at least a couple of years, at least 3 or something like that. That's what a mind fuck.
Entirely. But
You know, now imagine. Okay, well, imagine if he had the option of Neuralink.
Right.
You know, like, well,
To
your
help
mom's still
your mom
gonna
out.
your mom's still gonna die. You know, when she
Right, this isn't
she's
gonna-
still gonna
this
pass
isn't-
when she passes, but she's gonna know who you are in her situation.
She's gonna be able to keep her wits and her
Yeah.
memory and that compassion. But however, okay, let's think of it this way. She was looking at her son as her husband and having those moments, right? So if we Neuralink it up, are we taking away some of the best memories that she had?
I don't know. That's an assumption I don't think we can make.
We can't make that.
I don't think we can make an assumption that those are her best memories.
But is that altering what naturally was running its course?
Well, yeah,
Maybe
that's exactly what that is.
Yeah, but maybe those were those beautiful moments that she needed was to be able to look and have that, even though it was off the wall to us.
I can confidently say that I would not imagine those to be beautiful moments.
I don't know.
Because imagine seeing someone and you're like, oh, it's the love of my life. He's been dead for years. So happy to see. Oh no, you're just my son that I see every day.
Right. No, I know.
But I we don't have dementia. We don't have Alzheimer's. We can't relate to that. But one thing I can add to this conversation is a woman that we had where I worked, and she would talk on the phone, and she held her hand, not a real phone that was in her mind, and she held it like a phone, not like this, but like she was holding an actual phone.
Okay.
She didn't do the whole gnarly sign thing.
Right. Hang 10.
Right. She's holding it up to her ear, and this woman just have deep conversations that were very negative, very harsh, very almost like, should we call the police?
Right. Something bad is happening.
Something bad happened.
Okay.
Because she'd have conversations. She'd be like, well, I don't know what the fuck she did with that baby. All I know is I saw her in the backyard with a shovel, and I never saw that baby again. Like, she would say, and she would randomly go, you just tell Dale to shut the fuck up before I come out there with a shotgun and blow his brain.
Like, almost like she was reliving something that
right. But she was doing it so, like, she's reliving these moments, and she did it once when we had these Girl Scouts singing Christmas carols, and I couldn't help but lose my shit laughing.
I did not expect that.
Because these Girl Scouts were out there like, oh, praise Jesus, love the Lord. And like, she's like, tell Dale to shut the fuck up. So I started losing my shit, man. Anyway, it's laughing at a situation that's, as I said, comedically depressing. But what is she reliving? What are those memories? Those aren't.
Is she reliving her memories?
Is she making them up? Are these fabricated memories?
Could these be someone else's memories? Like if we want to talk spiritually and things that, you know what I mean?
Well, and also let's tie this into coming back to creating your own afterlife. Was she creating her own hell? Right there, you know. Wow.
Who knows?
I don't know. The brain is such a fucking weird thing, man.
It's a beautiful thing. But man,
it's a beautifully weird thing. And all we can do is talk about it. Like there's no conclusions. We're not gonna figure out anything. We're just gonna sit here and just like
That's what
look
you
at
have to do,
life
though,
in
but
awe.
what are we doing? We're using our brain. I mean, we're not just sent here. We're not just set here to just sit here and be mute and not use and push boundaries and hypothesize things. You know what I mean? Like grouping together with somebody you don't normally sit down and talk to. I mean, just look at the conversation that we've had throughout the night. Like
long ass conversation.
Yeah. Wild, but it's just between two people, right? Like
two experiences coming together and talking about their experiences and what thoughts they've derived from their said experiences.
Right. And what thoughts has it put in people that are listening to it.
Yeah.
And how they can relate to their experiences.
Or triggered them.
Or maybe even be appalled by it. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they're talking about that.
Oh my God. My grandmother had dementia. How dare you laugh at that situation with that poor woman.
We weren't. Yeah.
And, and I did say comically depressing.
Right. But I mean, it's just reality. Like,
it's just reality.
It's just reality.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, man. Life is such a strange thing, and I love discussing it. I love hearing other people's opinions about it. I appreciate you sharing.
I appreciate you having me, man.
Did you expect this? Were you hoping for this?
I was hoping for this.
That's good.
I'm like, I needed this conversation, whether we did this the way we did or not. I like the connect. It's cool. I mean,
yeah,
it's you have something amazing happening right now.
God, I hope so.
And I would like.
Hey, it's amazing for me. It's amazing for me, and I'm glad you feel. I
really do, man. Like I have people in mind that need to be heard. That I would sit down and listen to the whole entire podcast myself. Like I've met a lot of beautiful people in the world, and that's kind of where you're at. Like what you're trying to do with this. I think like my perception of the direction that you're going is just like.
I want to learn
these conversations.
I want to know what makes you, and I want to know how that translates with me, and like I want to learn, why do you think that way?
Right.
Well,
I want to debunk some stuff.
Not even debunk. Like, talk to me. Let's. I'll give you my side. You give me your side, and But you and I seem to be
we're pretty close.
Parallel with how we're thinking. So there was really not much to do there. Now there are some people that.
Are going to be, and that's going to be the struggle too. There's going to be some people that are like, you know what, no.
What, and that's fine. What I'm more concerned about, it's not the people who are wanting to debate. I'm actually really down for that. Not even a debate. I really want to hear another side of things.
Yeah.
Change my mind.
Right.
I'm okay with that. I'm not sold on what my thoughts.
On one direction and
yeah,
same.
And I've had to train myself to do that. I've had to come to my own terms to think that way because I used to be very opinionated about stuff. No,
closed-minded.
Yeah. I've had to relearn how to think that way.
I think that it's just part of human nature.
Yeah.
To just that's what you've heard and grown up hearing, and that's how you have to be, and blah blah blah, and it's just something. It's a trait that we acquire, I guess.
Right. The whole world is passing by you in houses on trains.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just sitting between the houses, looking at my goal.
Yep.
So, but I think some people might see this as a promotional opportunity, maybe. Like they want to come in, which is great. Please, let's discuss and promote.
Right.
But I hope to catch some people off guard with how a deeper cut than that.
I'd love to come back.
Yeah, dude. Anytime. Yeah. Anytime. You hit me up. I've got some people that want to do this. I have to do some remotely, which is fine.
Dude, I want to help. I'd like to help that. I'd like to. Yeah.
Help? What do you mean help?
Give you some interesting people to be like.
You seem to have a niche that you're putting yourself into with these things.
I don't know. I love connecting.
Yeah, that's what you're doing with Chase's thing. You're what do they say in that movie, Spider-Man: Homecoming? I know you're not a movie buff like I am, but in Spider-Man: Homecoming, Peter Parker's friend says, "I want to be the guy in the chair. Mm-hmm. I'm the guy in the chair. You know, whenever you're in trouble, you call the guy in the chair.
Right.
The guy in the chair figures it out.
Nice.
You want to be the guy in the chair.
You
kind of want to be like, hey, I'm going to send you people because but you don't.
I don't want to be up front.
Yeah.
I want to be the person that is able to see someone and understand them and be like, you know what, I can help you out, and I know who can help you out is this person, and you're going to help them out.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know what it is. It's always been my direction in life with anything. I mean,
but who's going to help Kyle Browning out?
That does help me out. That's the thing. Like that feeling and that smile that I get to drive home and just like, like, hell yeah. I killed today. That's what helps me.
And there's nothing
out.
Wrong with that. People try to put
I don't want to be praised or anything. It's just like that. Like, damn, man, I just connected some people and made them think.
That's how open mics were for me. Yeah, like in that, in the realm of music, like I remember going to open mics and stuff like that.
Dude, you helped me get out there.
Kyle Brown. I still think that your video has the most views
on the Telltales.
Yeah, let's.
No.
Let's look it up.
We don't need to do that.
I'm gonna look. I'm just gonna see. I just want to see if it's.
That is my mama's favorite song, though, as I like to say.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play it or anything, but I'll see.
Dude, I remember that, and I did. I was barefoot.
Yeah, you were.
And I was going through life full speed and looking for that outlet, and lo and behold, here's Stevie Cade right there, man.
Drunk off whiskey. I'm sure that was barrel bar days.
No, dude. I mean, I met so many people from going out and doing that.
Yeah, because I'm like you. I'm one who likes to connect people. But in doing so, I think I was ignoring myself, which I hope is something that you don't do.
I have a huge direction right now.
Not good.
And I did fall into that where I ignored myself for a long time. And I'm trying to not ignore myself, but not do it so much that I'm going to let go of anything else that I did have going on, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense, man. I
am very, very particular about the direction that I'm going, but I know that I need to finally look at me. I need to take care of me.
You were the sixth video. 468 views. Yeah, tell that to your friend Chase. You're like, oh wow, what a small number. 460. It's only been up for 2 minutes, right?
You know what? But every one of those was authentic.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Quality over quantity.
And honestly, dude, I love that take.
Well, the next one is actually 467.
I'm not gonna lie. Probably 100 of those were me. Trying to just hear that same take, like, dude,
I'm the same way. I'm very obsessive when there's a good video.
It was such a good take. It really was. Like I freestyled some stuff on there and I've made that very truant to what I'm doing now.
Oh wait, no, 316 views. You were 400. Okay. Yeah, you are still leading the view count on my channel at 468 views. Only by one.
Wow.
Jessie. Remember Jessie? Lester?
Yeah, I do.
467, and she was the video right after yours.
That is wild. And I remember that was the first night I met her as well.
Yeah, parking lot.
That was, yeah.
We had parking lot jam afterwards.
I met Terry Douglas through all this, which is like
huge. He ran the open mic with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ran an open mic with him. It was weird how that worked out. But we ran it together.
How I even stumbled upon that.
Yeah, because you didn't have Facebook, and that's the only way we really fucking promoted.
Yeah, I believe that somebody that I had talked to said that there was a good open mic going on with with some good people, and I was just like, all right, well, I'm trying to get back out there. I stopped playing music for a while, and
been there,
that
man.
was my first time coming back out, and man, I think it's critical to where I'm at right now, honestly, had I not.
Good. That makes me happy. That solidifies integrity.
Yeah.
And you will be in that same position where somebody solidifies all this footwork that you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, you're good people, man. I like you.
I like you too, man. Thank you.
I think we're gonna end on that note, man. Cheers.
Absolutely.
Tank, welcome to the studio, brother.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody, please go follow Kyle Browning. Do you have a website or?
I don't. I've got a personal Facebook page which has just like,
which sounds
nonsense. I just like post music at the end of the night when I'm feeling real good and I'm in the zone. Like, hey, I'm listening to this. You guys listen to that. But
and a personal Facebook page is like something that sounds like, oh, why is he even bringing that up? No, this is Kyle's new thing.
This is just me. Yeah, I'm a year into social media, but
right.
You can check my band out, Pneumatic Earth. You can check my old band out, Flipside Groove.
Or you can head down to Blackhand Gorge on Sundays at what time?
You can catch me live at 3 o'clock, Blackhand Gorge.
Weather permitting, right? Nah. Oh, no, rain or shine.
Rain or shine.
Look at you.
We play out there in the rain because we're covered by the way the mountain kind of, or the hill or whatever we
I got to go out there.
But yeah, Giants by the Riverside. That's my new little adventure with the metal band. We're about to record a new EP
bass.
Where I play bass. And last but definitely not least, Garage Bands Live with Chase Gilroy. Live on Twitch TV and YouTube. That's like my new endeavor.
That's cool, man. It's a good thing you guys got going there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really happy that you invited me in to connect me with those people. I would love to get Chase in here.
You got to get Chase in here. I would love to see you guys
when I don't know Chase like you. So like when I see him, he's very YouTube focused. When I see him, he's working. I want to get him out of that working environment and just be like, sit down, talk to me.
Dude, he's one of those uplifting people that when we kind of fell, I don't want to say we fell apart. We just, life happened, you know, like family and children, direction, jobs, focus, all that things. But he's just always been that positive, uplifting person to be around. And I feel like I'm that way for him as well. You know what I mean? Even though I don't feel that way for myself, I feel like, holy shit, I'm that way for someone too.
And which in turn helps uplift your own vision of yourself.
Right.
We're our own worst critics, man.
It's a full circle kind of situation, but I think us as adults and where we're at right now in life, like you and I and Chase and Jared and anybody else, I mean, all my musician friends out there, people that have moved away, people that aren't there anymore, like, I think we're all at that same exact place, whether we want to recognize it or not, that we're not so different.
Right. Even though our lives are completely fucking different.
They might be completely different, but, you know, at the end of the day, the end of the night, and our thoughts when we're all alone, and we're not
I feel
so
it.
different.
Ron J, the saxophone player
Mm-hmm.
that I perform with, we live two completely different fucking lives.
Right.
Like, it just not cut from the same cloth in the way we live our lives. But when we're alone, when we're talking, we're chatting, when we're on stage,
Right.
when we're communicating to each other, when we're communicating just through music, you know, like when we're on stage,
the vibe,
yeah, you know, that English that musicians have between one another, where they know that, okay, we're kind of going off the cuff here, but we're gonna just follow each other, you know, and you read that body language, you know, like, and then afterwards when we just talk about it, like we have that, it's that same exact thing. You know, it's two different worlds,
absolutely,
that come together, and people will be amazed with how often that would happen if you just give it the opportunity.
Yep. Even take the music aspect out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you really just take that opportunity that at the end of the night, you had a hard day, they had a hard day, they've got their struggles and worries, they've got their doubts of their inner self and what they can perform and be the next day. We're not that different.
No, we're not. All right, Kyle Browning.
Yes, sir.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
By the way, you get a consolation prize. Not even a prize. I'm just going to send you home with some of these IKOstrips.
Dude,
the peppermint flavored CBD oil dissolvable strips that were given to me by...
I recommend them myself.
Yeah, you had a chill night, huh?
Yeah, I did.
They kind of just take the edge off for me. And as I said, I haven't had back pain since I've been taking them.
Right.
All right, everybody, have a good night and peace.